This is the complete guide to start selling on Amazon from zero in 2026. In the past 3 years, I've sold over $2 million on Amazon while making hundreds of thousands of dollars at the same time. So, in this video, I'm gonna walk you through everything that you need to know and the exact way I did it so you can do the same thing. To start this off, I wanna run through what the most frequently asked questions are from beginners that I get and that I see pretty much all over, which the main one being, can you start with no money? And the honest answer is yes, you can. I started with no money. I didn't have any money to my name when I started this business that I was willing to put into anything else besides my necessities to live. So it really comes down to, though, can you get credit? Can you get credit cards in general? I mean, if you can't, then you will have to put some money forward, but that doesn't disprove the fact that you can start with zero money. So, if you can get credit, which I encourage everybody that I help out to do, then it makes it a lot easier because you don't have to front your personal money. You can use credit cards for the overhead expenses that we're going to walk through that are on a monthly basis and for the inventory. If you can't get credit, you're probably to start out going to need around $100 a month for the basic software, three of them, including the Amazon account. And then for inventory, it really just depends on how fast you want to scale up. You could start with a couple $100, start with 1,000, start with more than that. It really just depends on what you're willing to invest. I see people start with cash all the time. They put maybe 500 bucks in the first month. It goes well. They increase their budget and then just keep going from there. Do you need to do any advertising? No, you don't, because Amazon is the biggest, if not in the world, at least in the US, the biggest online marketplace for people to buy stuff. And they have the demand. They do that on their own if they need to. So you don't have to do any of that. This isn't Shopify like I've done before as well. You don't have to run Google Ads. You don't have to have an advertising budget. You don't have to have any of that, which makes it very easy to start a business like this because you don't have those extra costs besides the few softwares and then your inventory. You have to do any customer service? No. The only time that you have to do customer service is if you're doing shipping and stuff yourself through Fulfilled by Merchant, which we're going to talk about later in this video as well. But if you're sending your products off to Amazon for the workers in the warehouse to handle, then you don't have to do any of that. How much time does it take to go full time? It really depends on your specific situation, your lifestyle. I mean, for me, it didn't take longer than seeing the money come in the first month to be able to go full time, but I was also in a bit of a different situation where I didn't have a regular job to go back to. I was doing Instacart, DoorDash, stuff like that. So I got to pick my own schedule and I had the ability to either work or not to sacrifice the earnings that I would make for that to do this. You have a full time job, you don't really have that luxury that I had to do that. And if you have maybe a family and kids, it makes it a little bit harder, but it doesn't make it impossible. It doesn't make it not doable, even. People do this with full time jobs all the time, and they eventually either take it full time or they keep it as is. It's really up to what you want out of the business and how much you can put into it. Can you do it on the side? That kind of ties into what I was just saying. Yes, it's very doable to do it on the side. A lot of people do this as a supplemental income just to have some extra spending money or maybe to use it for vacations and stuff like that. There's no requirement from Amazon saying you have to sell this certain amount of units per month. There's no quota. There's no metrics that you really have to meet on that side at all. So you could come and go as you please. The only thing or caveat to that is if you don't sell anything for a few months, I don't know exactly how many it is, but maybe 2 to 3, 4 months, Amazon will temporarily just turn off your account. It doesn't mean you're banned. It doesn't mean that you're suspended. They just turn it off, which I guess is a bit of a nice thing because they just don't, for whatever reason, want you to keep paying for the subscription. I don't know why they wouldn't want your money, but they will do that. And it's as easy as just resubmitting your information and getting the account turned on within a day or so. So you don't really have to worry about that if you do take time off. A lot of people think that Amazon's oversaturated, and it's just not true. Like there's millions of products on Amazon. I don't know exactly how many, but a lot. And there's not nearly that many sellers. Even a product that has 150 people selling it can do very well and can be a product that you make a lot of money on. And that's a very rare situation that you'll sell products with that many people on it. I've been selling for 3.5 years now, and I've never noticed a problem like that. New people start every single day and have no issues. So it just isn't the case. I don't really know what else to say about that. Can you just outsource everything right now? I've seen people try this. It doesn't work. It is a nice thought to think that you can just start an Amazon account, hire somebody to find your products, hire somebody to prep your products, and then just let it run. But if you don't know what you're doing, then you can't teach somebody how to do it. Even if you hire somebody that already knows what they're doing, are you going to hand them your credit card and just say, buy these products for me and just hope that they're doing what they should be doing? Probably not. And if you do, it's probably not a great decision. You want to be able to know how to do it yourself. So if somebody does need to be taught, you can teach them. And even if they don't, you need to be able to approve products that they're putting into your buy sheet for them to buy them. Because you can buy stuff listed on Amazon that isn't good or doesn't sell. Not every product is going to sell like you want it to. There's horrible products out there. There's great products out there. You need to be able to tell what's what. How do you get approval to sell brands? Is probably the most common underneath how much money do I need to start on Amazon. And we're going to walk through that later on in this video. There are certain places that you buy products from that will give you the required information. You do not need to get a letter from a brand. You don't need to get a contract with a brand. You don't need any of that. I've approved every brand that I'm able to sell based off of an email confirmation from an order that I placed with a retailer. I'm going to give you guys a list of places that you can use for those later on in the video for different brands and walk through the whole ungating process. But it is a simple way to do it. It's not nearly as easy now as it was when I started, to be completely honest with you. They did make some changes, so it's not the days anymore where you can just submit an invoice or an email confirmation and then you'll get approved the next day. It does take a little bit more time nowadays, but in a way, it's better because, for one, it helps with the oversaturation that so many people are worried about. And also, once you get the approval to the brand, you'll probably be a little bit happier that not everybody can just get on and start selling the products that you are, to increase competition, to maybe tank listing prices, anything like that. It's a barrier of entry, which is good. Why would customers buy products from you and not just go to wherever you're buying them from and so buy them? There's a couple reasons. One being that Amazon is insanely massive. Like I said before, they are the biggest marketplace on the planet, if not in the country. Um, they have done so many things to make it so that people buy from them, whether that be 1 to 2 day shipping, which every other retailer does not have. It's speed, it's the customer service that they give that draw people to them. And we have ways that we're going to go through in this video later on how to get products cheaper than everybody else that most regular consumers and customers are not going to go through. So that makes it an advantage for us because we can get them cheaper and sell them at the same price. You can sell it for more if you want to. You don't have to sell it at the same price. But if somebody, even you, had an option to buy from Amazon at the same price as buying from Macy's, and You didn't have to go out to the store for it. You didn't have to wait 5 to 7 days for it to get to you. And it would get to you either overnight or next day, maybe 2 day at the latest. What option would you pick? It's pretty easy. I mean, I would pick the 1 to 2 day option. I do constantly. So that's the main reason why customers will buy from you if you list these products on Amazon and they will not go to somewhere else. Now that we've got all of the frequently asked questions and everything out of the way, you might be wondering, like, who am I? Maybe this is the first video that you're watching of mine. Maybe it's not. But what also gives me the right to tell you how to run this business? I am right now 26 years old. I started selling on Amazon when I was 23. It was the summer of 2022. I had gone through a lot of other jobs, and we'll walk through that throughout this whole thing. But I've done close to $2 million in sales lifetime, made well over 6 figures in profit um, yearly for the past couple of years. And I've pretty much gone through everything that you can in this business. And I have also been teaching new sellers how to start on Amazon who have been very successful at what they're doing. So I wanted to create this YouTube channel partway through last year to kind of just give out free content because, like I've said before, this is how I started selling. If I didn't have people on YouTube that were doing what I'm doing now, I never would have found this business. And I want to do that same thing for you. So, throwing it back to, I guess, the beginning of why I do this, because if you've watched any of my videos before, I do mainly clothing and shoes on Amazon. And it wasn't really because I thought that it was just like the best niche to sell. It was just what I knew. I played basketball throughout high school. I was very big into shoes. I used to flip shoes as well, sell them, buy them for myself, went to sneaker cons, stuff like that. And it just became part of my lifestyle. So that's what I know. That's what I'm comfortable with. It doesn't mean that that's the only way to be successful on Amazon. It's just what I found success in. But for regular jobs, I worked pretty much everything that you could really imagine, every type of category of job, regular job and online. So in high school, I worked at Chipotle. As you can see on the screen right now, I've done DoorDash after dropping out of college. I even did Shopify stores like I said in the FAQs mentioning Shopify, that I built 3 different stores. And I did, and I got sales, but it just wasn't really for me. I didn't like that you had to advertise. I didn't like that you had to do customer service, which we went over as well in the last section, that you just don't want to have to deal with that kind of stuff. It's a lot of mental power and financial power that you have to put into those things that Amazon solves. Um, I've done other jobs throughout there. I worked at Kohl's even, which is a place that I buy a lot of product from nowadays. So that's pretty cool right there. But I had even worked at an insurance call center for a health insurance. I wanted to become a life insurance agent at one point, actually, before I started the e-commerce stuff. And I went through all the training for that and then realized that I'm just getting myself back into what I wanted to get away from. So didn't want to do that either. I had worked as a door to door salesman for Verizon for a long time, which I actually really loved. It was hard, as you can see, like that's just me in a random customer's house right there. Um, it just wasn't all for me. So when I started doing Amazon, this was the early stages. First month, $7,500 in sales, not much profit on that end. Um, but it was the beginning. We'll see the progression here in the next few photos of how it grew. So that's just me in my parents' basement packing product. That's where I ran the business out of in the beginning stages before I had enough money to get out on my own. The next stage would have been probably right around when Q4 started, where I started doing more receiving of product, more ordering, more sending out product. As we can see there, those are the boxes coming in and then the boxes going out. Moving on from there to December, this is what it started to progress into, where I did my biggest sales month yet on the 6th month that I started. I did around $80,000 in sales, and that was just around $20,000 in profit. So that's when it really hit me that this is something that I want to do for a long time and something that can have a lot of longevity because I'd been doing it for 6 months, making thousands of dollars in profit and then hitting 20,000 in 1 month. That's partially, maybe for some people, half of their yearly income, maybe a little bit more than that. It was more than what I'd made in half a year up until this point. And from there on out, it just kind of bloomed into something that I never would have expected. And I've been able to do certain things that I never would have thought I've been able to do. I've taken my family on trips to Europe. Um, I've gone to places that I never would have thought that I would have been able to go to. I mean, imagine being a 23-year-old kid who had done nothing but drop out of college, really, and then a couple years later getting to go and have a view like this that you wake up to right outside of your door and going to places that look like this. It's pretty insane. I mean, it just blows my mind. And then renting out a house that looks like that with a view like that. Like, it just doesn't really make sense to me still to this day how this happens. And just working from all these places as well. That's the beauty of this business is you can go on trips like that and you can just work from there. You don't have to have somebody telling you that you have to be here at a certain time, leave at a certain time. It's honestly amazing. And this is where I'm at today. Like, this was last year. So just under $800,000 in sales. It was my biggest year yet and biggest profit year as well. So just to give you a little bit of a mind frame of like where this can take you before we get into everything, no matter what situation that you're in at this very moment. Hopefully this video is helping you guys out so far and you're learning from it to be able to start your own Amazon business. And if it's something that you really want to take action on and start, I do help new people sell on Amazon and even existing sellers grow their Amazon business every single day. And results will pop up on screen right now, just so that way you can see what you could expect if you want to get help from me one on one. I do weekly calls, one on ones with people. I give out my personal phone number so that way we can get any questions answered as quick as possible. The whole thing with joining a mentorship program, because you're watching these videos on YouTube and we do give out a lot of information on YouTube, is you get the speed. You don't have to go through and make mistakes on your own because I already made those mistakes for you. Like, you don't have to go through what I went through in the beginning before I actually did the same thing myself. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't have somebody that had experience in the Amazon business helping me and answering the questions that I needed answered. So, if you're ready to start your business for real and leave the regular 9 to 5 job, click the link down in the description, get on a call with me, and find out exactly how I do this for people. There's 4 main ways that you can sell on Amazon, like 4 different methods that you can choose. And we're going to run through just a basic overview of what all 4 of them are. The first one being what I do and what many other people that I see posting YouTube content do, and it's online arbitrage. It's in the simplest form being that you're buying product online from other resellers or retailers and you're selling it back online. That's as simple as you can get it, buying from places like Macy's, JCPenney, Walmart, stuff like that. The other option that's kind of similar to that is retail arbitrage. You'll be buying from the same types of stores, but you're just doing it in person. So you'll be driving around to different stores. Instead of looking items up on Google or online, you're going to be scanning products in store with the same softwares that you would use as online arbitrage, but just on your phone. And it's what a lot of people do, and a lot of people have success with it. I just personally didn't like this idea because it's taking up so much more time. If you drive to a Kohl's, for example, and you can't find anything in there, you spent maybe a couple hours scanning items manually and nothing was good, then you've wasted all that time. When in my case, I can just go on the website and see the exact same deals most of the time. Sometimes there's special in-store clearances, stuff like that. But on the other hand, if you have places like a Nike outlet, I know Nike's not available for new sellers, or maybe like a Gap outlet is a better example, stuff like that that don't have their catalogs online, that would be very beneficial to you and something that maybe you would want to do retail arbitrage for. The third one is going to be wholesale, which same idea as OA, online arbitrage, except you're going to have to work with distributors. You're not going to work with places like JCPenney, Macy's. You're going to be sourcing distributors and then ordering products from their catalog. This is a model where you can buy a lot more product at a time because there won't be, say, quantity limits or order cancels from online arbitrage sites because they sometimes have policies against selling so many units to just one individual. Wholesale is the solution to that. The cons to wholesale are that it takes longer to set up. So you're going to put in a lot more work in the front end to then get a potentially bigger reward on the back end. You're also going to have order quantity minimums in the reverse of online arbitrage, where you can't maybe order as many things. You can't order usually smaller amounts of products. They may have something set in place where you have to order at least 100 or 200. I've seen 500 before items of the same product in order to get an order to go through. They also may have dollar minimums where they won't ship you an order if, say, it's under $5,000 in total. So you're probably going to need a lot more money up front. It does become riskier that way when you're a beginner and you haven't actually made any money yet. So you have a lot more to lose in that sense. But this is something that is very scalable if you do put in the work up front, calling places, researching places, everything to do with that. The last option is going to be private label, which is basically you creating your own product. If you've ever looked on Amazon before, maybe for, say, for example, vitamins, you've probably seen tens of, if not hundreds of the same type of vitamin with similar packaging, just different brand names and logos on them. That is essentially a private label product where you are taking something that works, making your own version of it, and you are fronting money to get the product made. You have to find a manufacturer. So you have to find somebody that will be able to create the product for you. Then you're going to have to design your own brand logo, create your brand, everything like that. Then test it. Like you're going to have to be able to get samples of the product, make sure that the quality is good, and make sure that it's something that customers would actually want, which takes a lot of money and a lot of time as well. You are going to have to advertise this kind of product because in OA, we're reselling products that customers are already buying. On the private label side, you're creating a new product that nobody has ever seen before. They may have seen the type of product, but they've never seen your brand before. They've never heard of your brand before. Don't have any traction there or necessarily repeat customers at the time. But once you build that up, you will have that if people like your product. So it is very risky. This is in order of risk, the way that I showed these OA, retail arbitrage, wholesale, then private label, and also in order of how much money that you have to put forward as well. With OA and retail arbitrage being around the same amount of money, but then wholesale is bigger, private label a lot more. A lot of successful OA sellers or retail arbitrage sellers eventually move over and step up into wholesale and then potentially private label, maybe the reverse. But you do see that happen a lot with Amazon sellers that have been doing OA for a long time because they just maybe have a lot of money to burn or they just want to step up and to make things easier, more manageable at such a large scale. But you don't have to worry about that until you're doing maybe 8 or 9 figures in sales, like close to maybe 5 million plus over that, to where it becomes unmanageable or very hard to manage. So don't think that you have to eventually get into this if you don't want to do this. It shouldn't deter you from starting online arbitrage or retail arbitrage, wholesale, whatever you decide to do. Some terms that you need to be familiar with before we go through the rest of this video are on screen right now. Some of them we had just talked about. We're going to refresh anyway, get a bigger detailed description on them. So FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. This is where you're sending your product into the Amazon warehouses. They are receiving your product. First of all, they're scanning it into your Amazon account, making it available for sale. When orders come through, they're processing those orders by grabbing the product, putting it in a box, shipping it out to the customers. If there's any issues with your order, customers need help, Amazon does the customer service. And then if customers return the product, they're handling the return, seeing if it's sellable or not, then either reselling it or moving on with it however they deem fit, whether that's sending it back to you or, again, sending it back out to the customer, to a different customer. FBM, fulfillment by merchant. Everything that I just said about FBA, difference is you are doing as the merchant. You are the merchant. You will be handling the orders, processing them, shipping them, dealing with customer service, dealing with returns. Everything Amazon worker would do, you are in charge of. The next four are going to be the methods that we just talked about in the last section of this. OA, online arbitrage, buying products online. Retail arbitrage, RA, buying products in store. WS, wholesale, working with distributors, manufacturers, brands to then source product and resell it that way. PL, private label, making your own product with a manufacturer and then advertising, doing all the customer service, testing the product, getting samples, all of that, private label. ASIN, that is a key thing that we're going to talk about or see on every single product. Every product has their own ASIN. It's an Amazon Standard Identification Number. And that is how Amazon identifies each product, as it says. So if you're sending products in, adding them to your catalog in Amazon Seller Central, you will be using an ASIN. VA, virtual assistant, someone who will work for you. They are not an actual employee. They are not with you, like in person. They are virtual, but it is a real person. It's not an AI. I have virtual assistants that source my product for me. I have virtual assistants that do some work inside the Amazon account, admin stuff to keep the account all as it should be, tracking all of that organizational stuff as well. ROI, return on investment, that's going to be something that is talked about in pretty much every product that you find, or one of the most important factors of is a product a good buying decision. The last two, prep center, it doesn't really have a meaning. It is just a warehouse that is going to prep your product, receive it, send it off to Amazon. They're not dealing with any of the orders in most cases. They are just prepping the product as you would to send it into the Amazon warehouse. And that is somewhere that you pay them to do that. And then the buy box, which is a huge part of selling on Amazon. It is basically just the add to cart box. If you've ever looked at any Amazon product page, there is a box on the right hand side of the screen that shows the price. It shows add to cart, buy now, and it's got a seller name underneath that. That is the buy box. There are other sellers on that listing in case you've never looked before, but underneath the buy box, there is a list of all the other sellers. But the buy box is the one that is front and center. So we will talk about more on that whole thing. A lot of people think it's more important than it is to be in that box, but we'll walk through that as well. The last part before we actually get into screen sharing and walking through everything else to do with selling on Amazon is going to be one of the biggest questions that new people have is what's my out of pocket cost? What are my expenses? And whether it's out of pocket or not depends on if you're able to use business credit cards or personal credit cards or not. But the main softwares that we're going to need, Amazon is not on here because that is a given that you would need an Amazon Seller Central account to be able to sell on Amazon. That is $40 a month. The other softwares that we're going to need are going to be four main ones, and that's pretty much it. You don't really need anything else than that. A lot of new people or existing people overcomplicate this business so much by trying to add in unnecessary softwares and just get something for every single purpose that you may need. And that just runs their overhead costs up so high that they lose a lot of their profit that they should be making. So the ones that I have used since day one and that I have never expanded from, Keepa is $30 a month. That is going to be how you're analyzing products. The historical data of pricing, of seller count, and everything else in between that whole aspect that we're going to walk through. $30 a month. SellerAmp is going to be a software that does a lot of things, but the main purpose is going to be sourcing new products and also seeing your profit on products that you are qualifying to see if you want to invest in them. Inventory Lab has a lot of things inside of it, more softwares inside of it as well at this same price, about maybe like, I want to say 8 or 9 different softwares in there. But the main purpose that I use it for and that I encourage people that I help to use it for is going to be shipping products into Amazon, because Amazon Seller Central is honestly very horrible interface for doing that. So that's an additive, is shipping products into Amazon. But then the real main purpose of this software is going to be your accounting software. This is going to tell you how much profit you're making on individual order level, ASIN level, product level, supplier level, and it's going to give you a P&L sheet, a profit and loss statement, to see how much money can you actually pull out of the business. This is way better for beginners. I still use it to this day even, so even experienced sellers, better than QuickBooks, better than all of that extra stuff on how easy it is to use, because they work directly with Amazon. For example, QuickBooks doesn't. So you'd have to do a lot of manual assigning to transactions, categorizing, all of that. Inventory Lab does that themselves because this is their sole purpose, is to work with Amazon. BQL, $50 to $100 a month, depending on how big of a catalog you have. It's an AI repricer. So a lot of new people are probably wondering, how do I choose what price I want to price at? Do I have to constantly change my pricing because maybe somebody comes in that's cheaper than me? No, this software does it all for you. You can tweak it to how you want it to act, and then all you have to do is put in a minimum and a maximum, and it works between that. So you don't lose money, you don't go lower than what you want to go to, but it works all day long. Just the AI software doing what it does. And it does great. It's very good for beginners and Amazon sellers in general. And that's what I would recommend to everybody else. Now, on the supplies side, very cheap, honestly. Boxes, $2 a piece. You buy them in bulk, they become cheaper. They come from Walmart. Labels, it's 750 labels for $8 or $9. So it comes out to about a penny each. Tape, $2 a roll. Pretty standard. Very cheap also. Poly bags, if you need to put your products into poly bags, because maybe you do clothing and products exposed, you don't just throw basic like this t-shirt. If I sold this t-shirt, I wouldn't just throw it in a box like this. You have to put it in a bag, protect it, make sure that it can't get dirty or damaged, stuff like that. If it's not already in a box or a bag when it gets delivered to you, those are around 15 cents each. Buy them in 100 to 200 pack, and they are very cheap. That's really your entire overhead cost as a beginner, and pretty much my entire overhead cost to this point, except for the virtual assistants and who's doing my prep. So that's probably around, I mean, with the Amazon account, you're looking at like $250 a month on a high end. So if you thought that this was too expensive for you to give it a shot, maybe this is changing your mind, but this is realistic. Like, there's nothing else that I'm missing here. So hopefully this did kind of give you a better perspective on how much it really costs to run this business. In order to actually open up your Amazon Seller Central account and start selling products, you're going to have to come to sell.amazon.com. You can either go to that link or just look up Amazon Seller account. It's going to have all of this information in here that's not really important to you. You're going to come over to pricing, and then you can see standard selling fees right here. This is going to show you the plan options. There are two options for selling on Amazon: individual, 99 cents an item sold, and then professional, $39.99 a month. So you may be thinking, I'm just going to sign up for an individual plan and it's going to save me $39 a month. It's not the case, because if you're selling under 40 items a month, maybe it would save you money, but you do lose some options here. You cannot be the featured offer on a product in the individual plan, meaning you can't get the buy box. So you're going to be hidden with all the other sellers and just hope that people are going to go in there and look at it, which not many people do. I mean, I personally don't. So it's just not very beneficial. And if you're selling over 40 items a month, which you should be if you're trying to make some actual money from this, then you're going to be losing money. So when you go ahead and click on sign up for a professional here, it's going to have you sign into an Amazon account. Something that you need to know about when you're using the Amazon login to be able to create this account is, do not use an Amazon account that has an active Prime subscription. You do not want to cross that over with your Seller Central account, no matter what. Because what happens to some people that do that are, you're going to be buying stuff from Amazon Prime. And what may happen is you may get an email from Amazon saying that you're either suspected of, or they are just assuming outright that you are buying items with Prime to resell, which is against their terms. So you cannot do that. Don't even bother trying, because maybe you won't get that email right away, but you eventually will. And if they want to, they may just shut down your account altogether. So create a new email if you don't already have one. It'd be better to have one anyway to keep business and personal life separate. And then create a new Amazon account. Do not get the free trial of Prime, and then log in, sign up. You're going to have to answer some questions about whether you have a company, if you've started an LLC, which can be beneficial. Do your own research on that. Personally, I do use one. If you do have one, you still sign up as an individual. Depending on, I guess, if you have other people in your company, maybe you would choose a different option. But if you are the only person in your company, you are still an individual. So a lot of people get confused with that. So I just wanted to point that out. You're going to have to enter in your information and everything. Probably going to have to do some verification, whether that's like upload a photo of your ID, do a face scan, like a lot of places do nowadays. Also, they do that. Um, and then once you get your account approved, you're going to have to hook up a bank account, hook up a credit card, fill out some tax information inside the account and everything. Just make sure that you do all of that, or your account will not be fully active when you go to try to sell products if you don't have that verified. They may, for some reason, try to, or not try to, they probably will send you something in the mail to verify your address. It will be a PIN code. They will put on your account, if they do that, that your account is at risk of deactivation until you enter that code in. That is perfectly normal. Don't get scared by that. I have had to do that many times. If for whatever reason they do you like they did me, where they sent me the code in the mail, said my account was at risk of deactivation, the morning that it was supposed to be delivered at 3 a.m., they suspended my account. It hadn't even been delivered yet. So it didn't really make much sense. But I got the code, put it in, they reactivated it within 24 hours. So if that happens to you, then don't worry about it. Fortunately, it will happen to you when you are brand new and you don't have sales going through, whereas it happened to me about a year ago and it wasn't so great, but it will be fine. So don't worry about it. And that's basically all that you need to know about setting up your account to sell on Amazon. Like I said in the beginning of this video, one of the most common things that new Amazon sellers want to know is, how do I actually get ungated? How do I get approved to sell big brand products, the products that are good? Now, not all auto ungate products are bad. First of all, a lot of new sellers make a lot of money on auto ungate products. So keep that in mind, because when you get the list that I'm going to give you, new sellers have had a lot of success using that. So in order to get to this page where we want to ungate products, if you're not doing it through SellerAmp or any other method, come to these three lines up here in your seller account: catalog, add products. That brings you to this page right here. Take any ASIN, paste it into this box, search it. It's going to bring up this box right here, and then we're going to do condition new, and then we're going to click on apply to sell. It's going to say you need approval to sell this brand or to list in this brand. Apply to sell right here. Going to bring up this page with a request approval button. We click on that, it's going to tell us what the requirements are that this brand wants in order to ungate it. So right here, we can see in order to sell 20th Century Fox, we need 100 units of a certain product. Doesn't matter what the product is, as long as it's in the brand, and approving that ASIN brings you to this page. You need a couple of other things here, like your invoice has to be within the last 180 days. It needs to have your name, address, information matching your seller account, include the name and address of the distributor, retailer, whatever. Combined purchase of 100 units, we said. You can get rid of the pricing information if you want. I do personally. Don't have to. And then it just says that you may verify, or they may verify your documentation by contacting the vendors. That is just to make sure that you actually place the order, that the order is real. I've had some cases where I ordered Ungate and I returned the product. They responded back to me and said the order was not fulfilled, basically. Or you order something, cancel it. It's not really going to work. You then drop your invoices in here. What you want to include is going to be the order confirmation email that you get. That's going to be the only thing you get at the beginning. So try and ungate with just that. If you're getting denial after denial, which is normal now, even if you only submit that, you could still get approved with just the order invoice. You can attach the email as a PDF to say that the order was shipped, the delivery confirmation email. You can then go to the, say UPS shipped it, go to the UPS website, take a screenshot of the page showing that it was delivered with the steps showing shipment to delivery, time-stamped everything. You can get the proof of delivery, which is usually a separate document that you can download showing other information that's not on the regular tracking page. You can take photos of the product in hand and the UPC of the product in hand. That all helps. The more documentation you can give them, the better. You can even include a bank statement. Black out all the other transactions or just highlight the one from this order so they can see that you actually paid it and that it's real. Just give them as much as you can. It doesn't hurt anything. Then you just add your email address, phone number, and then submit it. I can't see that button because I haven't actually done this part here, but that is the exact process that you would want to follow. Now, do not get discouraged if you get denials. It is normal. It's normal to have to submit 10 times, 20 times. I've seen on the extreme case, somebody submitted for 6 months. It's unfortunately the norm. What I will say though is all it takes is the right person to look at the application. Some people just don't really pay that much attention to it and then just deny it because that person that submitted for 6 months submitted the same information over and over and over again. They didn't change anything. So, like I said, it's unfortunate, but it's just how it is. And it's a barrier to entry, I guess, like we talked about before. So we're going to take a look at an actual invoice, and then I'm going to show you and give you ungating documents as well. This is typically what you want your invoices to look like. Now, This is missing something that Amazon wants. It does not have Target's address on it. But Target invoices do work. Like, I don't know what the deal is, why they just don't care. Maybe it's because they know Target. I couldn't tell you, but I do know that these work. They have worked for me plenty of times. You got your name here, address, invoice date, number, title of the product, quantity, pricing information, which you can black out as well. Um, and this is basically what you want to see is something like this. If you're getting an actual invoice, this is best case scenario. If you only get an email confirmation, great. That's perfectly fine. Not a huge deal. Um, but if you can find your products on Target, use Target because they'll give you an invoice. If you go to your uh, Target profile, go to your purchase history, click on your order, there will be a button in the middle of the page somewhere that says view invoice. Um, you just download it. It looks exactly like this, just without all the black boxes, obviously. But yeah, that is best case scenario. You get something like this. If you want to, you can contact your supplier and ask them for invoice, see if they'll send you one. You can ask them for an itemized receipt even. It's up to the supplier really. Like if you go to like a Macy's or J.C. Penney, they're probably not going to do it for you. But if it's not a huge retailer like Walmart, Target, those other two that I mentioned, and it's a smaller place, usually they will give you something like this. But let's go ahead and take a look at the documents that I'm going to leave down in the description for auto ungating and then brand ungating as well. This is the auto ungating sheet right here that I'm going to leave linked down in the description also. So we've got just some instructions here on how to use the sheet. And you can read them if you want, but I'm going to explain it in this video. So we've got a title, brand name here, ASIN, link right here, and then the category that the product's in. This list is very long, very, very, very long. It's, I want to say 2,800 different ASINs in here. I could be wrong, but yeah, so 2858. This is going to take a long time to go through manually. So if you have a software that can do auto ungating for you, that's a very good option to use that. Instead of going through this manually, just copy and paste all the ASINs into a software and then let it run. The idea behind this is not two things. It's not to potentially sell every single one of these products or every single one of these brands products, I should say. And it's also not giving you a good ASIN to sell. I don't have a clue what any of these products are. Don't know. Haven't ever looked at them. The point of this sheet is that based on some factors, these are the most likely single product of these brands to give you an auto ungate. It does not mean that every single one of these is going to auto ungate for you. Doesn't necessarily even mean that more than 50 of them are. It's not a guarantee, but it's worth a shot. And I used one of these lists when I started, and it really helped open up a lot of brands for me. The point of doing this is to, one, if you get these brands unlocked, they potentially do have some really good products inside of them, just maybe not the ones on this list. And also, it gives your account history. Amazon wants account history. They are more likely to give someone an auto ungate that has account history for bigger brands. Not saying that you need account history to get these unlocked. I'm saying that if you go for bigger brands that are maybe ungates for other people, you may get a message like I do nowadays on certain brands that other people can't get, is based on your account history, we have decided to approve your selling application or something like that. That's what the idea of this list is, besides getting some good starter products. Like I said before, I have a lot of people that I help that are new sellers that go through this list and find a lot of good products. But then on the other hand, some of them went through this list and got these ungated and only checked this one ASIN and thought that I was just trying to waste their time, basically. So do it the right way. don't be discouraged if you don't get a lot of brands out of this. Take advantage of the ones that you do get ungated. And I'm going to show you the list that I have for doing different brands, retailers, and all of that stuff now. So what we have here is a list of a bunch of different brands and where you can get them from. A misunderstanding from this sheet also that I had gotten from some of my other YouTube videos that I had put this out on is, can you use these brands for any or these suppliers for any other brands that you find on them? And the answer is yes. Like if Kohl's is on here for any brand, you can use it for any brand ungate. It doesn't, it's not limited to saying that Adidas is only good coming from Kohl's and you can only use Kohl's for Adidas. It's not that. It's that these are suppliers that have worked the most for these brands. Can't include every single brand. I can't have 2,800 lines of brands and then find suppliers for all of them, write them all down. You can assume that if Frontier Co-op is good for Burt's Bees, Frontier Co-op is good for Colgate if they have it, or something like that. So use these suppliers. There are other ones out there. Usually, it's safe to say that if you bought an Adidas product, I know it's closed off now, but it may reopen, so that's why it's on here. If you bought an Adidas product from Adidas.com, it would also work. Or if you bought like Jellycat, you get it from Jellycat. Lego.com. Brand website is always a good idea, but these are in here in case you can't get it from the brand website or they just don't have their own brand website for some whatever reason. I don't know why that would be the case, but maybe you can't get Marvel toys from Marvel.com. I don't have a clue, but this is a very good resource to have. Also for categories, if you need to do a category wide ungate, because some places or some products like a beauty product would say that you need to ungate the brand plus the category, then get it from these sites also. And it's pretty much the same sites that are over here, but it's just spelled out just in case, because some people just don't know that. So I wanted to include that on here. There are instructions also on the second page, but you can grab these with the rest of the documents down in the description also. In order to actually get Keepa installed, first of all, and get your account set up, you're going to come over to keepa.com and you're going to sign up for the subscription. It is 29 euros a month. So it will come out to be anywhere between 30 to 35 US, depending on the exchange rate. It does fluctuate. So that isn't too bad. I mean, this is going to be the software that we're analyzing all of our product history through. And we're going to walk through exactly how to do that. Once you have your account set up, you're going to have to install the Chrome extension. If you don't have the Chrome extension, you won't see anything. So that would be why it is here, front page. If for whatever reason you don't see it or something, just Google Keepa Chrome extension. It will come up. You install it. It'll have you just sign into your account, and then it will populate. Whenever you come to any Amazon product page, you're going to see these three charts right here. We're going to walk through a complete breakdown of how to use this software and what you need and what you don't. So just looking at it here, there's a lot of data that you probably have never seen before. We're going to go through first of all and just clean this up. So on the top chart here, this is our price chart. We're going to want to see only some of this information. We're going to want to see the sales rank line, which is the popularity of the product on Amazon. And if you hover over the words right here, we can see that all of the other colors in this top box kind of faded out, and the green one is solid. So if you ever want to see something specifically, just the whole thing, that's how you would do that. We're going to leave sales rank. Buy box is going to be that add to cart box, the price that is in that box only. So that's a good thing that we want to see. Amazon, it will show if Amazon has been in stock, is in stock, what their price was. They are not in stock right now, so it does not show anything. But if they were, it would be a yellow box. New is the current lowest offer out of everybody. Merchant fulfilled, FBA fulfillment, anything. just the current lowest price. And that's a blue line that isn't very visible except for in the far left right now. There's a little drop down. New third-party FBA is the FBA offers that come in. We also want to see this. New third-party FBM, same thing as the new third-party FBA, but for merchant fulfilled sellers. We don't want to see that, so if we just click on this, it will go away. List price, just a list price. We don't want to see that either, so we'll click that off. If you have any other options, sometimes other things do show, like used, eBay, stuff like that. Just click them off. The only ones that we want in this top box are these 5 right here. This second chart on the middle is going to be a detailed breakdown of this green line up here, because we can see it kind of matches the other one up top, this part right here, and then it's all of the subcategories inside of this. We don't want any of that. Monthly sold is an estimate. Don't really care about that either because it isn't completely accurate. It's an estimate for a reason. So instead of just clicking all of these off and leaving this box here, if we click on this sub ranks box that highlights when we go over this, it will just take this off completely. So we want to see this right here for the number of charts. Now on the bottom chart, it's rating. So the rating stars on a product, we don't care about that. Rating count, just how many reviews there are, we don't care about that either. New offer count is all that we want to see down here. If you have anything for used offer count or anything like that, click it off. There are some other options that will show up on different products. So all we want is the new offer count here. And this is the history of the number of sellers that have been on this listing. It does go up and down. People sell out, people bring new stock in. That's what we want to see. Now down here, we can change this graph's view right here. So we can see here, this is from November 16th up until Saturday, February 14th, today. We want to generally see 3 months of this to gauge, is it consistent? Is it everything that we want it to be? Because this is a solid amount of time for us to verify that. If you wanted to see farther out, or closer in, like say we wanted to see just today for some reason, which we don't ever want to, we click on day and it zooms in where it's now hours here throughout Saturday, February 14th and Friday for the last 24 hours. We click on week, it goes to week, month, same thing, 3 months, year here. And this is where we'll see Amazon. So that yellow bar right there is Amazon coming in stock right here and then going out of stock. If we wanted to see the all-time chart, we click on this, we'll see the 3,366 days of this chart's history or product's history here. So when you have it set up like this, that's all we want to see. Now, if we hover our mouse over this, like we just saw before when I showed you where Amazon was, we're going to see some boxes pop up here. So we've got the blue one at the top, the new price, the pink one, the buy box, and then it does say FBA versus FBM here, where we got FBM in it now, and then the price that that certain seller, whoever Fort Hand Field is, had their price at $30.08. The new third-party FBA also at $30.08 here. Sometimes you will see a difference between that. Sometimes you won't. Really just depends on the product. Sales rank, the green box on the left-hand side, is the popularity out of all of the other products in this category. So this product is ranked 16,589 out of all of the thousands, tens of hundreds of thousands of products in this category. Now on the bottom, we've got new offer count. So just the number of sellers. So it was 27 here, 4 people sold out, then it became 23. More people came in and out. And then at the beginning of this, it was only at 6 or 7 here. The dates underneath that, that's all that we really need to know about how to read this for data points. Now, what we're looking for on the top here is consistency. So this is a very good example of a good product because it's a very consistent price. It did drop down a little bit here, but that's not a huge issue because it's been consistent for the majority, like 90% of the last 3 months. On the bottom, we want to see the opposite. We want to see fluctuation down here. We tell that a product is selling by, are people coming in selling out, coming back in, selling out again. How quick are they selling out is a good way to gauge velocity. I would say that this is a very good product just based off of these things alone. And that's really all that we're looking for here. Now, to explain this little drop in price here, we can see that it was, and if I click and drag on this before I go into more, you can select a certain portion of this chart that you want to see. So me clicking here at August 25th and dragging here and letting go is going to zoom it into just that part. But to explain this price drop, there was only 4 to 2 people for a good amount of time. Maybe 6 at the highest, 7 right there. Price was consistent up here. And then all of these people came in, which dropped the price a little bit, which is normal. It doesn't happen every time, but it is something that does happen because if there's this little amount of sellers on here, they can really demand whatever price that they want. But then other people come in here and bring it back to what it used to be, or just try to undercut some people. Price kind of falls a little bit. If it didn't stop and settle out, I wouldn't buy into a product like that. If it just kept trailing down, not really what you want to see. And we'll go through later on some red flags, green flags on products as well. But this just does explain that drop right there. Now, this also is a point where you can see that the FBA offers are higher than the FBM offers. It's not completely lined up here. It's got 38 versus 33. That's a good thing for FBA sellers because what happens is customers will pay extra money to an FBA seller to get their product through Prime shipping, 1, 2 overnight shipping. And they'll pay the extra $5 or $4.14 there. So if you are selling a product FBA and there is a gap in between here and it's consistent, price up at the higher point here because you can get that. Even though the buy box isn't reaching up there all the time, it's still selling at that price. So that is pretty much a complete overview of these charts here. Now there are some other sections inside of Keepa that I want to walk through. First one being the tracked product page. So if for whatever reason you came in here, did your calculations in SellerAmp that we're going to walk through later, and you needed the price to be up a little bit, or any case, you can throw in a price in here that you wanted it to be, and then you can either do less, which probably wouldn't ever be useful, and then you can click this and change it to more. So if you needed it to be $29.50, you could throw $29.50 in here, say, or more, start tracking. This will send you an email from Keepa when the buy box price goes up to that price. You can do it for the new price as well here, in case maybe the buy box is lower or something or higher, and you only needed it to go up on the new price. You can do the same thing there. But this is very helpful. You can do an advanced version of this, add some more things in here, like how many sellers are in here, which I think is going to actually be in the pro version here. New offer count right here. So more or less, you'd probably want to do less. So that way you'd know like, okay, a product is selling out. This is a good time to go and buy it and fill the product. Very helpful for different situations, but play around with that as you see fit. The data tab, going to have a lot of information in here that we don't really need to pay attention to. It's just going to be a more detailed breakdown of what we saw inside of the charts with sales rank, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, all of that for all parts of this product on the right-hand side here for all of the different fulfillment methods, and then offer counts. And then over here, we've got a lot of product details that we really don't ever need to pay attention to. I don't remember the last time I've actually gone into this part of the data tab. There are more important parts in here, one being the most important, but the next one is going to be offers here. So with this, we can see each seller right here, the name of the seller. We can see their price history here with a graph of their individual price. So this guy's is different than this guy's. We can see their stock. We can see how much they've sold today and then sold 30 days. This is all an estimate. I would not really pay attention to this. The only time that this is useful is if it is a single listing product page. So if this was the only color and size product on this page, this would be more accurate. But since there are multiple variations here, there's 40 different sizes across all the colors, this becomes a lot less accurate. You can see if they're prime eligible or FBA seller here. So check marks mean that they're FBA and they have prime. And then if we scroll over here, we can see when they were last seen on the listing and then how long they've actually been on the listing altogether. So these guys have been on it for 2 months selling, this guy 56 days, and so on. We can include historical sellers that have sold out. We can see this little bar right here got a lot smaller when I did that. So a lot of people used to be on this and are not anymore. And then you've got their total price here, what condition they're selling in, all of that good stuff. We can filter it by prime eligible sellers, free shipping, FBA only versus FBM only here. And see how those change right there. You can also change the graph view from 90 days to 30 days to 7. I would keep it at 90 if you are going to use this to match your 3 months on the regular Keepa chart. Most important part in here is going to be the buy box statistics. So a lot of sellers want to know if one seller is dominating. Maybe you see that they have a stock of like 1,000 units or something like that, or they just have a ton of reviews. This is to disprove all of that. So we can see here the percentage that each individual seller right here has won. You can see the average price that they have won the buy box at. So if they for one day was selling it at $20, the next day at 40, this is going to show 30. It's not the last price that they actually won it at. It's just an average. Then we've got the time that they last won it right here. Are they FBA or FBM? Check mark or not. Average new offer count here. How much stock they have. Now, I wouldn't worry about that too much. There are ways that you can manipulate that, which we'll get into when we talk about SellerAmp. Then there's seller rating here, review count, and then the date and time that they last won it at. So what's important to know about this is going to be how you want to sort this. So you can either sort it by percentage won, you could sort it by the time that they last won it and see the prices here. So just now, $32, 8 hours ago, 30, 18, 33. These two guys were FBA. This guy was FBM. This guy also FBA at 33, then FBM at 30. So this is going to give you a good bearing on what price you should price at. Because if you're sending this FBA, you wouldn't price at $30. You would price it in between 32 and 33. Because these guys have won it just now, a day ago, and then 18 hours ago here at that higher price. So they're selling the product there. Just something to keep in mind. You can also expand this into 90-day range, 180 if you really wanted to. Not much use in that, but that is something that you definitely need to know. Buy box used statistics, going to be the same thing as buy box statistics, but for used offer count, don't need to worry about that at any point. Variations. So this is going to show us all of the different variations, colors and sizes, each individually, all in one spot here, which is helpful on these kind of listings because of a few reasons. So you want to be able to find other products. If you find this one to be good and profitable, why not check out the other ones? On the other side, if this one isn't profitable, some of these may be. So that's very important. And we'll run through that when we're actually live sourcing products later on in this video. But it's got images, titles, current buy box price, new price, buy box, new offer count. You are going to have to set this up on your own because yours by default is not going to look like this, just like the first part that we did. So you're going to come into here, configure columns, and I'll just slowly scroll through this. So that way, if you want to match yours up, just pause the video and then match it up to it. Right there is the end there. And then you're going to have to, can't just click off of this. So some people get frustrated by this. This isn't really that important, but it might help some people out. You can't just click that away. You have to click it right here again. But now you're not going to have them in the same order. You're going to have to drag them around. So if you click on one and hold it, you can drag it around here and move these to however you want it to be. I find this to be the most helpful setup, as we'll see when we live source. So if you want to copy this over also, this is the full extent there. So just size, current Amazon price if they are active and on a listing, number of units estimated bought in the past month, ASIN, the color, new offer count, and then how long the listing has actually been on Amazon for. That's just the most important information for me in my business. You may find other things to be more important or not as important. Major key thing to notice is this new offer count graph looks exactly the same as the new price graph here. So if we go to history right here, this is going to look not identical in the way that the chart is formed, but the color of it. A lot of new people drag this over there, use this, think that this is offer count. It's not. So just make sure that you see new offer count here instead of new, because that may trip you up and make analyzing these things a lot more complicated than you want them to be. You can also change the graph range here. Not really that important though. And then the settings, nothing really important in here. Just play around with this if you want to change anything. The only thing that I would turn on is this for sure. If you're ever looking at an Amazon page, like search results, if you hover over the product, it will show you the Keepa graph. That's pretty important in certain situations. But that is pretty much everything that you need to know Keepa inside and out. This stuff I would not worry about, but we'll see more of this as we go through the live sourcing, as I mentioned later on in the video. Tailing off of Keepa and that walkthrough, we're going to run through SellerAmp before we get into actual live sourcing. So just like the same process with Keepa, you'll sign up for your account. Pricing is two different options here, unlike Keepa. We have $19.95 on the basic plan, where you get 1,000 lookups per month. That's the important part. You do have a smaller amount of installs, but if you're just by yourself, it doesn't really matter. If you have a business partner or something, you can share it with them as well. The getting serious plan is what most people end up getting onto. You can get away with this in the beginning, but if you do more than 33 lookups a day, every single day for around a 30-day month, then you will need this plan if you do more than that. You do get more installs. They do offer 14-day free trials on both, and I did include this price in my budgeting breakdown and expense breakdown, just because this is probably what you're going to end up with. If you do get the Get Started plan and you hit the 1,000 lookups per month, it will just give you an error message or tell you that you've reached your limit. So use this until you can't anymore, where it's just not making sense. If you hit that error message halfway through the month or one weekend, you know that you need this, but you can always do this and save some money. Now, unlike Keepa, they do not have the extension just plastered somewhere on the front page. So if you Google SellerAmp Chrome extension, then you install it. It does look like this little icon right here in the top bar of my Chrome. You will need that, just like Keepa, to be able to see the panel on the right-hand side. I would not recommend to do annual plans for either software at the beginning. Once you know that it's a full-time thing for you and you're going to be doing it for at least a year, then do the annual plan here. You do save about 2 months doing it this way, because if you just times these numbers by 10, then you get the year plan. So it will save you some money, but not completely necessary in the beginning, especially if you're just testing things out. Once you have the software installed, you're going to see this panel here like you saw during the Keepa tutorial. We're just going to walk through every single important panel here, and I'm going to run you through all of my settings and everything so that way you can set it up just like I have it here. So at the top, we've got some buttons up here that we don't really ever need to pay attention to. We've got the title of the product here. If you hover over it, you see the full thing. You don't see the entire thing just off the preview. We've got the brand here, the category that it's in, and then the subcategory right here. We've got the star rating for the product that matches the top of the product page. We've got the ASIN, the Amazon Standard Identification Number here that we talked about in the terms to know. This is going to be used for if you're going to list this product, you're going to need this code here. We've got the UPC of the item there, the dimensions of the product, width, height, length, weight. You've got little description right here, not a huge deal. It's the bullet points from the Amazon product page. We've got this button to open up the Amazon product page. This isn't useful when we're already on it, but it will be useful when we're sourcing products through SellerAmp. We've got this button right here, which is going to Google the product title. So this title right here, if I click on Google, it puts it into Google and it searches the product, which happened to be right here. So that's how we're going to source products after this. We've got this button here to search for the product title on Walmart. Probably don't ever need to use that. I've never used it. And then this to open up the web app here, which is going to just give you a web page of this panel. Not really ever useful. Then we've got this eligible panel here, which has no variable for me right now because my Seller Central account is not hooked up to this. You will have to hook it up. If you scroll down, you'll be able to see this button here to log into Seller Central. Once you do that, if you come back to this page, it's going to show the same thing. But you refresh this web page and it will then either give you, it'll say yes with a green background like this, or it will say no with a red background. If it says yes, you're ungated to sell the product. If it says no, you're not. And if it says no, this button right here is going to then replace this part with a button that says manual ungate. And that is going to bring you to the ungate application. Now, what I have been told from one of my friends who works with SellerAmp, better to try to ungate products through Amazon Seller Central than SellerAmp. Don't know the reasoning behind it, but take that and put it through Amazon Seller Central. So you would just take this ASIN, go to your Amazon Seller Central account, add the product, request the approval that way. Alerts right here. There's many different alerts that can show up in here. Only a few that you really need to worry about, which aren't all shown right here, but this here is one that you need to worry about if it's red. If it's orange, not too big of a deal. And we can actually tell that from Keepa here, where there's no signs of an IP complaint. Now I'll try to give you a brief idea of what it would look like. And I actually want to leave that off zoomed. So see this big increase right here from around 9 or 8 up to 38 or 41. That's fine because that's just people joining. If we saw that in reverse, if this image was mirrored and it dropped off completely straight down line, that is a sign of an IP complaint, which essentially is just the brand putting out a notice that for whatever reason, they just don't want people selling it because maybe they think it's fake. Maybe they just don't allow people to sell it on Amazon, something like that. You want to stay away from products that have this in reverse, because that is an issue. And we're going to walk through all of the complaints and everything also. So the only other one that you really want to, or other two that you want to pay attention for, is something that says DG in here. That's dangerous goods, which means that it's got something inside of it, maybe like a battery or something like that, that you're not supposed to or allowed to ship through the mail without certain qualifications and approvals. You don't want to sell those products. The other one that's pretty much hand in hand with that is an H, which stands for hazmat, same idea. This one here, V for variations, that's not a problem. It's just showing you that there's more than one product on here. It's not something to be worried about. 90% of my products have variations on them. So not a big deal there. The BSR here is the same thing as this green line here, sales rank. So we've got 44,177 there. We've got 44K here. Popularity of the product, like we talked about. What we want typically is under 200K in here, just to kind of validate that we're going to have some volume going through the product. If it's higher than that, probably a low selling product, not something that you maybe want to get into. Estimated sales here, it is an estimate. It is not completely accurate. I'm torn between this box because it's a good gauge, but it's also not completely accurate because I sell products that I go through hundreds of units a month myself that say 50 or less. So it's just really tough to kind of back this box. we gauge it more off of offer count. Like if offer count's moving, it's going to sell. Why we do test orders to be able to see actual volume rather than going off of this. A lot of people you'll see will tell you to take this number right here, divide it by the number of offers, and then you gauge how many units you'd be able to sell. If we did that, we'd get two. Like it doesn't really make sense. And I hate that people do that because it's just a horrible way to look at this. Because these people might not be priced accurately or competitively. And also, if we go into like see the other sellers in here, their shipping dates might be back ordered for weeks. So it's just not a good way to go about it. Max cost is going to be what SellerAmp is calculating to be your max cost based off of the settings that you have in your filters, which are in the settings. So if I click on this 18 here, this pushes it to 25%, which is set to be my minimum there. If I go underneath that, which these boxes are not helping, if I go underneath that by pushing my cost up, it does turn red. So when you put a price in here, you'll be able to tell, is it profitable based off of your criteria, which this isn't not profitable, but does it meet your criteria? Sale price is the sale price that it's pulling from down in a different section here, which is the buy box. It will autofill the buy box price there. You've got your profit, dollar amount, profit margin, ROI, return on investment percentage, and then your break even or sale price. So based off of this cost here, break even is 27.63. Not huge thing to pay attention to, but you might want to know just in case. And we've got our offer summary breakdown here, total number 24, 14 FBA, 10 FBM here. And when you install SellerAmp, these sections are going to be in a different order. Some of them may show up, some of them may not, but I'm going to show you at the end of this section here how to get it to actually look like this. So the next one is going to be ranks and prices. This is going to have a breakdown of some of the information that we've already seen and then some extra. The benefit to this is being able to see the average 30-day, 90-day, and 180 for the pricing. So if you hover over this, it will tell you the minimum and the maximum prices. And that does come from these two right here, being the 30 and then the 32-ish, a little bit up, a little bit down, but it's there. It's good to have just in case you want to check that out. Got your alerts here. So these are some of the other options in here. Private label, unlikely. It will sometimes give a false error of a private label product if one seller or two sellers have been on it for a while. It may say that it's suspected to be private label, but if it's a big brand, not private label. So don't worry about it. IP analysis, the size, if it's oversized, because there will be extra fees with that. If it's meltable, that is important also because during certain times of the year, you cannot send meltable products into the warehouses because they would melt. So there's a certain time frame where they're accepted, certain time frame where they're not. You could technically merchant fulfill them during the off season where they're not allowed in the warehouse, but that's just very risky because if you're selling like chocolate to people, for example, in the summer and you're shipping from East Coast to West Coast or Midwest, something like that, it's probably going to melt. And then they're going to want a refund. You're not going to be able to sell the product again. Just a bad idea. Not something that I would ever recommend doing. This right here is going to be a charts box, which is just Keepa, but smaller and less good, to be honest. The only reason why you would want this on and why I have it on is because it shows up in the phone app. So if I'm ever not able to get on my laptop and I want to check an ASIN or something, I'll plug it into the app and then I'll be able to see this and you can view the chart on keepa.com that way. Get the full breakdown here. So that is something to just keep on if you want it. You can always minimize these things also if you want, like just click on the top, it will make it smaller. The next one is going to be offers. So this is important for a few reasons. One, to be able to gauge your competition's pricing. and then also to be able to source products. So if I was to click on this guy's right here and open it up in a new tab, it's going to give me his seller storefront. So this is going to show seller name, ID, ratings, ASIN count, then top brands. It's not going to show every brand, but it's going to show the most popular ones in this seller's storefront. Then it's going to give the top categories here, and we can see a list of all of the different products that this person is selling in here. Um, if we wanted to, this is where the Google button comes into play and the Amazon product page button comes into play. So if we open this, it brings up the Amazon product page. If we open this, it searches it on Google, and then we can source the product. It does give us the BSR here, estimated sales, our max cost based off of this price and our criteria, and then the number of sellers here. It does also say their stock, but it's not something to pay attention to at all. It's very misleading because in this, some of them will be correct, but some of them won't be correct. There is something that you can do inside of every single product on your Amazon Manage All Inventory page inside your Seller Central account where you can go in to edit the product and you can say a certain value into a box where you're going to basically limit a customer from ordering more than that number. So if I wanted to say I was selling a pair of shoes and I didn't think that any customer in a normal situation is going to order more than 2 or 3 pairs of the same size, same color, same model shoe, which I would normally go with 3. Some people do 5. But if I put in a 3 into that box, it's going to limit this number right here to say I only have 3 available. They cannot read, SellerAmp can't read past that value. So if this guy says somebody can only order 1, then 1's going to show up in here. Don't see anybody usually putting 30 into that box, but you never really know. So that's why it's important to not pay attention to this and say, oh, this is selling 50 units a month estimated. By the time I get mine in, all these guys are going to be gone, and then I can price it up at 33. Not the way you want to do it. You can price this up at 33 because we looked at it during Keepa and the buy box statistics said we could, but that is the reason why, not the stock count here. So this is a good thing for the storefronts and then the pricing to see where your competition is at. Now, something to keep in mind, that prime bump that we had talked about, if you're selling this product and you didn't even look at the buy box statistics, I wouldn't even imagine selling this product under $32 because the FBA pricing 32 and up. If we load this for more, there's going to be a lot of the majority of FBA at 33 or 34. Now, something else to keep in mind, what I was saying about why you don't take the estimated sales divided by the number of sellers is these guys are priced way too high. So that's 5 people off this list. And then this guy's probably going to be, so there's even more. It just doesn't really make sense to do that because of this. So anywhere from 32 to 34 range would probably be a very good place to start pricing your product at if you're selling this FBA. If you're selling this FBM, be prepared to go down to this range because that's where the majority is. That's all you really need to know about this part here. Profit calculator is good for merchant fulfillment mostly. If you also wanted to check like what your prices would be at these other prices, if you are to just click on this 33 here, our 32 or what was our break even changed to 33 here. So you don't have to go down here and remember the price and then go up and type it in. You can just click on these. If I wanted to see pricing at 36, then 36 is in here. Just a little bit of a nugget there for you, I guess. But the part with that is it ties into this, which is why I have it right underneath here, because if I wanted to check this price, it will pop here. I'll be able to see my numbers here. But for the merchant fulfilled part of this switch right here, FBA, will then change to merchant fulfilled. It will pop up a new box or change the box, and it's also going to change our fees here. So we can break this down inside of all of these and see like our sale price, cost price, total fees. That calculates our profit here, maximum cost, what it's going off of. So my filters inside of the settings, and then the total fees. So we've got our referral fee, which changes per category. So this one is 17%. This is, in the most simplest of terms, the advertising costs that Amazon is deeming that they're losing to be able to get this customer for you. So when I said that you don't have to pay for advertising, it's built into it where it's not a separate cost like Shopify. Um, so, or Google Ads, I guess. That is built into the total fees already. Fulfillment fee, FBA, that is the cost that they are saying it's going to take for them to be able to get a shipping label. This does not change if your customers in, I don't know, say your product is in New York, your customers in Massachusetts, which is right next door, it's still going to be 472. And if the customer's in California, it's going to be 472. Doesn't ever change after the sale. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, this stuff in here is also going to be like fees that you put into SellerAmp here, like inbound shipping, if you estimate that, which we're going to talk about after we go through the settings. Inbound placement, miscellaneous fee. You know, if you have like prep costs in there or something, like prep fee will show up. But if I click on this FBA switch and switch it to FBM, that fulfillment fee goes away. All of these potential FBA costs go away also. So it does make the product profitable, more profitable compared to $6. Does go to $10 profit. You do not make $10 on this product if you ship it FBM. Now, since Amazon isn't shipping the product, you are. You are paying after the order comes in for a shipping label. You can estimate those costs based off of weight and everything. There's a good range that you can kind of get a feel for, or you can just take one order, see what it goes to, take another one, see what it goes to, estimate it on your own. But this product, you can see the weight up here. It's around 8 ounces, so probably anywhere from like $4 to $5. So if we put a 5 in here, that's our new costs or our profit. So FBA to FBM, you're losing money if it's $5 and up. So you just have to keep that in mind for if you're doing FBM products, you need to throw a shipping cost in here. So it's just, you know, play it out, see what would be better, and decide if you want to merchant fulfill it or you don't. You've got your other things down here that we saw before, then estimated Amazon payout here will tell you. It's not something to really pay attention to. The other part to this, which is kind of helpful, is you can see based off of how many you are going to order what your total sale profit would be. So if I put in 10 here, it's going to tell me my cost, my sale prices, and then my total profit. So you kind of estimate test order how much you're going to make if it's at this current pricing, and just kind of get an idea of maybe how many units you got to sell in order to make how much you want to make. Notes and tags, if you wanted to add a note to this product for any reason, just label it something or put like a check back at this time type of thing, or put a reason for why it wasn't profitable, you can do that. And then Google Sheets, we're going to walk through that also, but it's just not set up on this SellerAmp, but I will show you how that works. ROI is going to be just a table of ROI percentages, profit numbers, sale prices. Not a huge thing to kind of pay attention to or anything. That's it for the SellerAmp panel, but the settings are going to be inside of here. So we've got some stuff like this. It just comes up naturally populated. I don't know how they come up with these names, but they're pretty interesting. So we've got our FBA shipping is the first thing. So my issue with this, which is a little bit different than probably everybody else that you see on these kind of videos, is that I would typically take this out and just leave it blank, because I personally treat my inbound shipping cost as a separate expense. like if I was to buy boxes. I don't know anybody that would take the cost of their boxes, do all the crazy math to figure out how much that costs them per unit, or divide a roll of tape out by how many boxes you can use it on and then put it into their cost. I just don't get that. So I treat it as a separate expense. If my inbound shipping is $100, it's not getting averaged out of my profit. It's just $100 out of my profit as a whole expense. So I would just leave that blank, because some products may be profitable without a number in there, and then it may put it underneath your minimum with a number in there. But it's still profitable if you treat it as a separate expense. It's just all about how you view your business. Um, I've been doing that for 3.5 years. So the other parts to this are going to be over here. All of this, you don't really ever need to know what it is or what it does. Just make sure it looks like this. Your minimum BSR percentage, leave it blank. Maximum 2 is good, so the BSR would turn red. If it's 2% or more, it's usually very high, like in the millions. So that kind of stuff you just want to know. Minimum profit, up to you. I typically do around $4. Minimum ROI, 25%. Now, with these, this max cost inside of SellerAmp is going off whichever one it hits first. So this 1933 is at my 25%. If this was under $4 at 25%, this max cost would be higher. So you need to keep that in mind depending on where you decide to put this number, because some things may look like they won't be profitable, but they are just on the other criteria. So just keep that part in mind there as you're doing your sourcing. Prep fee, miscellaneous fee, percentage. Only thing that's important here is prep fee. Like if you have a set number of what the dollar amount is per unit and it's the same for everything, then I would throw that in there. If it varies, then kind of tough to put that in there. Some people also treat that as a separate expense, like the inbound shipping, and don't account for that into each unit. It's up to you how you want to run your business. Default values, have this in here, FBM cost, if you wanted to put that in there, but shipping cost varies, like we said, for the weight of the product. So it just doesn't really make much sense to do that there. Now, the display part, you want to have it look like this. The break even and the offer summary are not going to come on by default. That was this box right here and then this one. So you'll want to turn that on. This stuff here, you'll want to see like the prices chart, sold chart, offer count chart. You can turn that off if you want to. Like if you turned this off, it would pull it from in here, the charts that I minimized. But I'll have to refresh this for it to go away. So all of this looks like this. And then the SellerAmp panels here, I'm just going to scroll through this quickly, and then you can turn that stuff on and off. Something that I didn't mention in here is going to be this BQL option here, your repricer that you're going to use. If you have this on and you've sold a product before, it is going to pop up a box at the bottom, or wherever you put it will be bottom by default since it's at the bottom. And it will let you reprice a product that you currently have in stock or have had in your inventory list from the Amazon page. So if you open up the Amazon page to check offers and check the price of your competitors and you want to change a repricer, you don't have to go back to BQL, search for the ACE and do it there. You can do it all from the product page, which is very helpful. So it's a good thing to have on. And then Google Sheets here, you'll have to configure it, sign into a Gmail account, and set it up that way, but we'll walk through that in a separate part of this. And that's everything that you need to know on how to use SellerAmp, how to set it up. If you needed to find out the order of that, just rewind it a little bit and pause the video and add them in as you see fit. In order to set up Google Sheets, now that I have connected my Google Sheets account to this SellerAmp here, we just scroll down to that section that we had it in, and we'll see all of these different options. So these are different options that I had for my VAs, or I do have for my VAs. And then this is a new one that I created. In order to create that, I went into SellerAmp, clicked on Google Sheets here, and then went to Setup. And when you do that, it's going to pull you to this sheet. It's going to show you your email above here and then show that your account's connected. If it's not connected, go ahead and reconnect it. You're going to have all your different sheets in here. You can move them around if you want to. And then you click on new sheet. And when you click on new sheet, it's going to pull you into this button where I'm going to just click on edit. It'll bring you to the same place, but I want you to be able to see the options that I have in this one already. And then you can open it here. You can remove it from view. It doesn't delete the Google Sheet from your account if you remove it. You can always connect it again if you want to. But if we go in and we see what's in here, we've got the title. You can change the name. So how it shows up here for SAS Buy Sheet 7, we could change that if we want to. And then you've got the Google Sheet name, which is just what it shows on Google Sheets. ID here, that's how you reconnect it. If you wanted to, you would take that ID, which you can find in the hyperlink of your Google Sheet, can open it, can refresh the names and tabs, but here is the field mappings here. So these are all the values that I wanted SellerAmp to import into my Google Sheets, and I'll show you exactly how that looks in a second. But if you want to add these in, this is what my ordering is here, and that's it. That's all you have to worry about. Now, when we come into Amazon, we'll want to add in a cost price just so that way we can have one in here. And once we have a cost price in there and we click on the buy sheet, it's going to spin and then it's going to have a check mark. That means it was imported. You don't need a cost price in there to import it. Maybe it sounded like that when I just said that, but we just want all the values to come across correctly. So when we come here now, it's going to have all of this information that we put in here. Now, these aren't going to be exactly how we want them to be because this is a new sheet here. So you can just come in here, change this to like currency, change this to a percentage, go through and add these in as you see fit and how you want it to look. But we've got our date that we imported it, the time that we imported it. This time is going to be off because it is through, I believe, GMT for some reason. I don't know why, but I haven't yet found a way to change that. We've got our product title, name, ASIN, brand, Amazon link. And then if you want to cut this off so that it doesn't overflow, you can do that just by clicking on that button right there. This is going to be blank. We left an empty box in there for a reason because this is where you're going to want to put your store link that you found the product at so you know where to go back and get it from. Then we've got our cost price, sale price, buy box price, profit, dollar amount, ROI percentage, current sales rank, estimated monthly sales, number of sellers for each of them, and then this in here. So this kind of depends. You don't really need this row in here if you don't want it. It is just blank. It is for the notes. So if you add notes inside of SellerAmp, like here, then it would import that in. You don't need it in there if you don't want it. This is stuff that I have in for my VAs, which we're going to have a section on VAs in here also. But if you have VAs or you plan on getting them, this is a good way to do it because if they use a coupon or promo code to get their price, I need to know that. So they put it into this box. If they used gift cards, discounted gift cards, which we're also going to get into, they put in where they found it, what the percentage was to be able to get this price. If they have any notes for me, it gets left in here. I put a yes or no, green or red, if I bought it or not, and then I tell them why. So that is important. If you don't have a VA, you don't really need any of that stuff. Maybe the gift card and the coupon if you're coming back to it. But that is the main idea behind this here. You can create sheets for whatever reason. And have stuff that you want to come back to later. You can have stuff that just wasn't good yet. You can have a replen sheet. You can have a sheet of just products that you bought in general. You can have basically sheets for any reason, as many as you want, not any reason to have one or to not have one. But it's completely up to you. Just wanted to kind of get this out there because not many people show this for some reason. Very important thing that you need to understand about running an Amazon business is majority of products you do not find them profitable. If you do find them profitable, they are the most likely to tank. That's just what I've noticed over the years of selling on Amazon. For example, when I started, I did a lot of Nike products. It was probably 95% of what I sold was just Nike. And what I learned from selling that brand was anytime a sale went on their website that just said discounted product, like it was already discounted, or the code was plastered on the front page underneath the price saying use, I don't know, save 20 for 20% off. Those products were the most popular products that sellers bought that could sell the brand, and the most likely to end up tanking or not staying consistent because they got them so much cheaper. People did not hold the price that it was at before the sale went on because they got greedy for sales, and price just started a downward spiral. And that is just not how you want to have your business go, is buying all these products that you think are going to make you $10 profit and then it ends up making you two. It's just not a good way to do it. So we make our margins. That is the best products that you can find, is ones that are not normally profitable, that you have to do some extra work for, because a lot of people just don't know these methods, and they just don't do it. So there's a couple things that go into that, and I'm going to show you on this website right here, and then we've got another one. So the first thing that pops up is you should also have cashback extensions. That is not something that is going to help you make your margins, but that is just something that you need to use. We can see here that you get up to 14%. It's definitely going to be on different categories. On top cashback right here. And then we've got Rakuten, which is the one that I use the most. I've made a lot of extra money just doing cashback, like an unreal amount that you wouldn't get if you just didn't click this button. Like all you have to do is click this button and it gives you free money. That money is non-taxable, so you don't have to pay taxes on it, and it's just free. You get paid out once every 4 months or 3 months. It's once a quarter, and you just get sent a check or sent a PayPal payment. That's all you have to do. It's a really big blessing to have in this business because it's free. As simple as it is. So definitely use these if you're not already using them. But the main part of this is going to be coupon extensions. So there's a lot of them out there. Cooper, Be Frugal, Retail Me Not, just to name another three. Rakuten even has some coupons and stuff. I find in my niche, clothing and shoes, that Capital One Shopping is by far the best, and that is what I use. So they also do cashback, but the main point of this is going to be these codes right here. So they found 10 codes that may or may not save you money. That's what all of the coupon extensions do. And the beauty about this one and other ones out there is when I go to the checkout page for just any order that I'm placing, if there are codes that are registered in this extension, it just automatically plugs them into the promo code box and it just starts running them. If it finds one, it moves on to the next one, even if that one worked, to see if there's a better one. Because three might work, one might give you 5 off, one might give you 20, one might give you 50%. So it doesn't just stop, it finds the best one and then it leaves it there. You don't have to do any work. So definitely use extensions like this if you're not, because people aren't doing this unless it's one of those codes that's plastered on the website. It's a huge advantage to have and something that you need to use on the daily. The other part that you need to use is going to be this website here, Cardbear. I couldn't tell you the last order that I placed without a gift card unless the website didn't have gift cards. Um, this website right here, like if I type in Macy's, we've got results for the highest 11.2% off here. All of these websites are real. All of them are legit. None of them will scam you. I've bought from every single gift card website that shows up on this website. This is not, Cardbear is not selling you gift cards. This is like a Wikipedia for gift card salesmen, I guess. Not salesmen, but I don't know what the right word is. But these websites that sell gift cards, that's what it is. And it's comparing their percentages against each other and giving you a list of all of them. There are more websites than these 6 right here. Still all real. I've bought from all of them. What you need to know about this is a couple things. Do not just go and assume 11.2% off. You want to click on this in stock button. It's going to bring you to that website and it's going to show you the dollar amount of gift card that they have. They'll have multiples most of the time. And then the percentages do differ per amount usually. This 11.2 could be one $10 gift card. That's what you need to keep in mind and why you need to check. You want to make sure that you can actually get your full order value out of the website with this percentage. If you can't, then move on to the next one or combine them. Like buy the $10 gift card from here for 11.2, then go here and buy the rest at 11 or 10.5 or 8.5. Combine them, make it work. Make sure you Google, like for example, I would say, how many Macy's gift cards can I use online at once? It will tell you, usually around like 5, I want to say. Uh, some are less, like throw out random brands. Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, you can only use 2 on an order. So you need to know that. Either break up your orders into smaller amounts where you can maximize the percentage, because you don't want to buy two $50 gift cards for a $300 order and then only save 10% on $100. You would split that $300 order into 3 orders of 100, save 10% on all of them. That's how you want to play this. What I don't do is if I have a $280 order, I won't buy gift cards for $300 and then leave $20 balance on one of them. I would buy gift cards for as close as I can get to $280. And then if I can only get $275, I'll pay $5 cash, undiscounted. Because you don't want to buy gift cards and have them sitting around hoping one day you'll use them. It just locks up money where it doesn't need to be. And what if you forget about them? Then you just lose money. They don't ever expire, but if you forget, then they might as well, you know? So keep that stuff in mind. Something else to know that is very important is you cannot return these gift cards. You can't buy them and then decide that you don't want them. These are final sale on every website. Now, on the flip side of that, if you buy a gift card and it doesn't work, there's no balance, says numbers don't exist, they will replace them. Email the company, tell them, hey, I just bought this order. This gift card number does not work. They will either refund you or replace it depending on what you want or their process. If you get a refund, just go buy another one. If they replace it, great. If you can't use it anymore or you bought another one because it wasn't working and you needed to place the order right away, they wouldn't respond in time, tell them, hey, this one's not working. I bought another one to replace it. Please refund me because I already placed my order. Most of the time they will do that. But just, again, make sure you're doing this the right way so that way you're smart about it and you actually end up saving money instead of costing yourself money, because it could go either way depending on how you treat this kind of situation. Something that I wanted to touch on really quickly, and some people are, I guess, scared or worried about, is how do you actually tell if a website is real, like legitimate, if you're buying real products or fake products? And there's just a couple quick ways that you can tell. Something that I have noticed and heard from other people that's a very good way to verify it is if they accept PayPal. It's going to be very unlikely that they're running a scam business through PayPal based off of all the verification and everything that they require for businesses to set up. Something that I do whenever I'm worried about a website being fake is either just Google the website and say the word legit afterwards. That will pull up scam result websites like Trustpilot or the BBB website, anything like that. Very key thing is to look to see if they have an address posted anywhere. If they do, Google the address, because a lot of fake websites that I've come across that I just didn't end up trusting, I looked up their address and it was somebody's house. Now, that may be a little different if it's like Shopify or something, but it's a very good rule of thumb that if they're a real business, they don't have their home address on their website anywhere and it's not a house. If they have a phone number or something, You can call it even. Um, Most of the websites that you're going to buy from, though, are going to be big retailers. Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, like we've mentioned throughout this whole video. So you don't have to worry about any of that. But if you see something that looks off, or you are looking for a product while you're sourcing and everybody's priced at 50 and then you see it for 20, do your research, because that most likely is either a fake product or just you're never going to get the product. And that's also why it's always a good idea, if you can, to either check out through PayPal or just buy with a credit card and not a debit card. Credit card companies have way better dispute power and coverage on those kind of things than if you are to use a debit card, or if you're to use PayPal. They will investigate it for you and you will get your money back. Just do not do anything that seems sketchy without doing your research and end up getting screwed. Before you start actually looking through storefronts, you want to make sure that the storefronts actually are something worth looking through. So, looking at SellerAmp and then the offers tab, you'll look over this, and what you typically want to see is over at least like 4-star rating. Because if they have a low rating like this and only 2 reviews, there's a couple things that you could possibly assume, which is that one, they're either the main thing that they're just not selling quality product. And if that's the case, like if they are buying fake products, then you're not going to be able to meet their same price point. And it's going to be harder for you to actually find sources for those products. So we want to see a good star rating, and then we probably want to see at least like maybe 30 individual ratings. Like this guy has over 30 ratings, but his star count is low. So he must be doing something that we probably don't want to do. So we just kind of cut that out. And the more ratings that somebody has, like this right here, means that they've been doing it for a long time and they probably have a good amount of products that we can look through. So that's the main reason for the number of ratings. So we'll open up these two guys and we'll take a look through this. And since we were looking at this product already for the Keepa and SellerAmp walkthroughs, we'll just stick with that brand since it is typically an auto ungate for 90% of people. So it would be a good starting point for you guys to look through. And this guy actually doesn't have it in his top brands. So he does have some products in there, but it's just not showing up here. We don't want to scroll through that whole list. So we'll just get rid of this. And this guy actually does have it in his top brands. Not that many products, but this whole sourcing idea is very repetitive. So we don't need to look through a ton of products to get the idea of what we need to do on repeat. So what we're looking at here is just a couple things, and you may have different criteria than me, but I typically look through 200K and less BSR. Estimated sales I don't worry about, because as long as offer count is moving, product is selling. Max cost isn't a qualifier. Offer count shouldn't be a qualifier. It used to be for me. When I started, I said that I wanted to limit my competition and I wanted to stick to under 25 different sellers on a listing total. If it had 26, I would ignore it. And while it may sound like a smart thing to do, it was actually, I don't know, detrimental, I guess is an extreme word, but I lost a lot of potential profit that I could have had, because if offer count is moving a lot and there's a lot of sellers coming in and out, the product is selling and you don't have to worry about competition. Now, if competition is dragging the price down and price is tanking, then stay away from it. But if price is staying consistent and offers are coming in and out, nobody feels the need to lower their price because it's selling very well at that price. So that's how you need to think about it. The other thing is that I typically try to stay above like $25 to $30 sale price, just because it's a lot harder to find products at such a cheap retail price to sell and make money on. And if you are, like if you're selling a $15 product, you're probably only making like $2 on it. That's just not worth it to me. I think about it as if I have to sell 10 products at that price to make what I would make off of 3 to 5 products at a higher sale price, I would rather choose less amount of units. That means less units coming in to prep, less returns coming in because there's less orders, and you just make money quicker. Yes, you may need more money to buy those products because they're more expensive, but you're making the same amount on less units. So it's not really about how many units you buy, it's about how much you're making off of it that really matters. Store stock is not important at all. So what we'll do is we will just open up the Amazon page here, and then we will open up the Google page. And those are the two things that we're going to do on every single product that we look at right away. We're going to come down and we're going to analyze the Keepa chart here. And this is hooked up to a demo seller account that I do not use. So that's why it says no here. Every brand will say no because I just don't have anything on it. It's solely for the purpose of videos. So we're looking here for a consistent price, and we're just going to analyze each of these as we go through them, just because we didn't really look at anything else throughout the Keepa tutorial except for that one product. So right off the bat here, we'll notice the correlation, hopefully, between these two graphs, where this one went down as this one went up. That's normal. That's not something to really worry about. Now, if I was looking at a product and it looked like this, I would not buy this product right now. I would watch this product for maybe like 4 days, maybe a week, and then come back to it to see if it flattened out. Because it's trailing down, because offers are coming in, you don't know where this is going to settle at. You can guess, but it's not worth it because you never know. And this one did flatten out here. Then offers went down, price goes up. That makes sense because less people on it, less competition. These remaining 2 guys can charge whatever they want for this product because there's nobody else to undercut them really except each other. And that just typically doesn't happen. And then offer count came back in, price went back down to normal. So 30 here, 31 here, 30 here. That's pretty normal. So on this product, probably would be fine because it just balanced back out. Like these are basically mirror images of each other, a little bit less drastic on this top chart here. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna look for this product, and this is it, software stretch leggings, software with stretch leggings. So we'll open this up and we will grab this here. So we've got our products here, and I gotta move that so I can X that out. 1938 with this code. It doesn't add 15 more. This is the couponed price here. We'll check to see if we've got our color. So black large, there is no black in here. So that is unfortunate, but this is where the variations tab comes in. So first we're gonna look at Kohl's gift cards. And we're going to see 8.5% off. We'll go with 8 because we don't know if this is it. We're not going to take the time to look at each individual card, but we'll go with 8 just to be safe. So we've got 1938 here, and then we've got 1938 minus 8%, and we know that this isn't profitable. But what we're doing here is we're going to push this upwards. We're going to see what is our 25%, and it's going to be around 33.40. Okay, so we know that we can't get this price on this product, but what we're going to do is we're going to look through here in the variations tab, scroll down to 33.40 range, which is going to be right here, and we're going to see that we've got extra large ivory. This offer count looks good. And then gray medium, also this offer count looks good. And we've got gray medium, they are pretty much all sold out. And then That is the idea though. So we'll want to check this variations tab to see if any of these other colors and sizes are good. And ivory wasn't an option. That would have been fine too. Black small is looking good also, but black small is not available. And then we got black extra large. Black just isn't an available color there. But that is the idea that we're looking for. So we will move on to the next product and we'll see this Amazon page, this Google page right here. And then these two are the same. This one is not. So we'll open this one also. And then we'll just open up this one as well here, just to get them all already open so we can just kind of go from there. And what we're going to look for, again, Keepa chart. This looks good, consistent pricing. Buy box is not there anymore, but that's not a problem. You don't have to stay away from listings without a buy box. Yes, I did that a little bit too early. We're looking for the software with stretch long sleeve crew. So stretch long sleeve crew, this looks like this. Yep. So we're going to see this one extra large. What size is this? Large. But what we can also do is just kind of click on this first. If there's only one size, you could just do that and see this isn't bad. It's slowed down a little bit, but it was selling very well. Sales rank has risen up a little bit, but it's still not very high at all. 1938 minus the 8%. We could have just copied that price from the previous one. That one did not make it either. But these are good charts. Like this is decent. It's not going to be the fastest selling product in the world, but it's not bad. And we'll go ahead and look through this as well. I believe though that this may be the same product. It is. So we'll just get rid of this one because that's going to be inside of this if it is good. So we want to see our price. I think it was somewhere around here. So we'll just take this down until we get to 25%, and we need around like 34.50 because fees may be a little bit different depending on the weight of the product, if it's an extra large versus an extra small. So we'll take the 34 and we'll come down here and we'll see this looks very good. So we'll open that up. This one also looks good, so we'll open that one up as well. This one too. We've got this one, which is also good. And then we'll just move on up here. We'll take that. We'll copy this price this time. We'll come in here and we'll see what is the price. So we've got 3304. Not good enough. Very close, but that chart did look very good. This one also looks good, and it's going to be just a tiny bit over. 3416, that is 3416. And then we'll do the same thing here, which this one is definitely going to be good. And that is very good right here. So that is reaching up to 3750. Now, what we can do is see 34.99. It's still good. So we've got our 27% ROI here on this, even at the lowest FBM. But buy box is reaching up here, and we'll validate that by going to the buy box statistics and seeing. We could do last one, actually. We'll do that. So we've got 34, 36, 37, 31, 35, 37, and so on. And these guys are merchant fulfilled. The FBA guys are at least 35 to 37. And this is this guy right here. So 36, 37 is probably a very reasonable range. This one here, 8 days ago, he could have sold out. Don't really know. Could check last seen inside of the offers, but 36 to 37 is a very reasonable range to get that product at. So this is a good product here. This one Not so much. Even though buy box was reaching 38, 39, it's not getting there this point, and these guys are at 34 pretty reasonably here. So probably something that you could watch, maybe add it to a check back later list because it was here for a while. It's just because it was such a low amount of sellers and then people came in and it dropped. So that is something like this is a red flag here. If you see this going on where it's just dropping down, you don't want to buy into a product like that. You want to wait to see if it flattens out because you may hope that it goes back up here and it doesn't. And then you're stuck with this for about a month until it went back up, not even all the way. So just something to keep in mind on that. Now, this will be just the last one that we go through because we did already find a very good product in just a couple minutes. We'll see if we can get this. So 1962, that's going to be this. That's not the same. 2520 is going to be a little bit too high on our end, I'm assuming. And that is only the one color. But we've got JC Penney at 14.3%. If there was a sale on this, then it would be good. But since there's not, it's a little bit probably, oh, it is on a sale at 25.20. So definitely not going to be good. Minus 14% here. 21, so we would need our price to be up at like 40 something. Yeah, it's going to be too much, I'm assuming. And since there's only 3 sizes in there, we're probably going to be on a tight, so 39.10, and we've got not even the size. I mean, this is X 2167 is going to be our, oh, that's at 38. I mean, it's a very slow Keepa chart, but it's just depends. And sometimes the SellerAmp just doesn't update. So you'll want to double check that. 2167. Yeah, it's still, the fees on this one must be crazy high. Yeah, it's just not it. But these are also other sizes of it. So it just kind of depends on what these product pages are. Some of them have a mix of everything, some of them don't. We see this, like these are some one-off weird designs on the other ones. Just not really worth it. But this is exactly what you want to look for, is the other one. But this one here, I've actually got good product here too. Forgot that I opened this one. This is great offer count movement right here. And this is good pricing. I mean, it's going upwards. It's not as flat, but this went down and then it raised back up. I would be curious to see, it was at that price at one point and then the all-time high came in and drug it down. So this is also very good. And what I would do on something like this is just see how far I can go down. Because if price was to fall, what can we get to? And it's going to be somewhere around 34 evenish. Yeah, so 34, 44-ish, which is in here. I mean, it's going up and down. It's not something that would disqualify this for me. Like, I wouldn't see this and say 27 and be like, oh, no, I can't reach that. I'm not going to buy into it. This seems like it, based off the year chart, that it is returning to what it was. And there is somebody down there, but it's merchant fulfilled. So your competition is going to be here. 37, 38. I don't know what's getting to. It's getting up to 38 in here. It's just not pulling on the thing. There was a 39 right here. So anywhere from 38 to 39 is a very reasonable price to get that at. And this is the exact process that you just want to repeat over and over and over again. Find the product, check the Keepa chart, source the product, check the gift card site. If you're not profitable, find your minimum cost for your 25% if you keep that criteria, which you should, uh, and then look through the variations. If your first one is profitable, you want to do the reverse in the variations. If this one is good, I would come in here and I would find my bottom, which was 34-ish, 34.44. And then I would come into the variations. I would find 34.44 way down in here, right there, actually, exactly. And then I would go up from there and see, okay, 34.99, open that. 37.99, open that, which I think was that one actually. Uh, and then go all the way up and do it that way. Because just because you found one good product doesn't mean it has to end there on that product page. Like there's countless number of products that I've sourced personally when I was starting, and then my VA sourced personally that turn into multiple other products off of one good one. And if you did not do a process like this, you would never have found those products unless they're in somebody else's storefront. And that is just a huge waste of time. And you're losing a lot of profit not doing this. So make sure that you just make this into a habit of doing this whole process. All right, so now that we have bought products, we've learned how to source, we've gotten them delivered, everything to do with that, we're going to need to know, how do we actually send them into Amazon? How do we get them to sell? How do customers buy them? So we're going to come into Inventory Lab because that is by far my favorite software to use for this. And it also gives you the accounting side right here and right here, your profit and loss statement. We'll come into list, click on list and prep, and we'll get this page right here that's going to look like nothing. When we click on start a batch, it's going to ask you for some information. It's going to ask you for a batch name, which will be auto-filled in whenever you click on this button. Channel, if you're doing fulfilled by Amazon, it will pre-fill that, or merchant fulfilled. I believe it's whatever you do last, but we'll want fulfilled by Amazon. It will ask you for your shipping contact information, so where it's coming from, so that way it can properly charge you for the labels and have the address for where it's being shipped from. If you decide to put something else in this box besides where it's getting shipped from, you will be charged for the real shipping cost. You cannot assume, well, you won't know where the shipment is going to go to until you actually get all the way through it. But say you assumed it was going to go to, I don't know, Florida, and you put in a Florida address to get cheaper shipping, you will be charged for that. And Amazon may actually penalize you for that. I don't know, but you could run into some issues with that. So don't do that. Just put in your real address, and then right here would be the address. Actually, this is the shipping contact. So your name, phone number, email, and then your ship from address there. If you have multiples, maybe you have a prep center and you prep your own product, make sure that you choose the correct one when you're creating the shipment, depending on where it's coming from. Go to batch settings. This is going to be what you should have here. A big misunderstanding I've heard from some people that have recently joined my mentorship and everything with that is that they didn't know that Inventory Lab had 2D barcodes, which is, if you're not familiar with it, it is a separate secondary barcode that comes on one of the labels that basically allows you to get faster check-in times, because the normal process is create the shipment, pack your boxes, ship it off to the Amazon warehouse. When it gets received by the Amazon warehouse, they will unpack the box, scan all the items into the warehouse to make them available for sale. If you do not have a 2D barcode on, it will take longer for them to check in your items, because what these 2D barcodes do is it gives them a list of all of the ASINs and respective quantities of those ASINs in each box, on each box. So they basically cut out a step that the workers have to do. So If you don't have that on already, make sure you click on this because it will just come up on using feed. Click on using 2D barcode. You do not want minimum maximum preferences on. You have a repricer, or you will have a repricer that will do that for you. If you do set minimum maximum pricing on Amazon for a certain number, and then you have different numbers maybe outside of that on your repricer, you will get errors on Amazon saying that your price is too high, it's not within your minimum maximum. It will just cause a headache for you that you'll have to go fix. And once you add a minimum maximum price to Amazon, you cannot remove that value. For some reason, you just cannot ever remove it. So it will be very annoying to do that. Buy list, if you use a buy list, then you would use this. If you don't have Scoutify or you create custom files to match theirs, I don't personally, it's just not worth it. Just make sure you have this selected. And then it's almost always for OA going to be small parcel delivery. If you're doing wholesale and they're shipping on pallets, then maybe you would use this. But if you're doing OA, you'll never need that. Once you have all of this set up, you're just going to click on start your batch here. And what it's going to do is just pop up basically a different version of the first blank page being blank again. It's going to have your shipment details over here, all of this right here, and then it's going to have this box here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our ASINs that we have and paste them in. And these are just demo ASINs. I don't know if these are good. I wouldn't even bother looking for these products. I only say that because when I used to watch YouTube videos, people would put products on, I would try to go find them. And it was never worth it because they're never good products. So we enter here, and then we've got options right here. So this is a demo account. What you'll typically see is a box that will not have this if it's your first time shipping on Amazon. This is what it will look like if you have a replen going back in. And I'll explain to you when we get to the screen what it will look like on your first time sending stuff in. But if it has stuff like this, you'll want to click on the FBA active right here and then click on replenish selected. If you do not have a product already in your catalog, it will just pop you to this screen right here. So what we're looking at here is just 4 boxes inside of this. We're going to do how many units we're sending in. If you have a test order of 10, we're going to have 10 in there. This box will normally be editable. It's just not because of this demo account, the way that I had set these products up beforehand. Your supplier, you'll be able to type this in here. I don't even know what that is. And then you'll put in your purchase date. So like this would just be a box like that where it's empty. Purchase date, if it's, I don't know, a couple days ago, you would just type in 2/14, that is actually today, and then 2025 right here, or 2026. So yeah, you'll fill out those boxes, have all 4 of those filled out. This product does have an expiration date, so you will have to put that in. So I don't know what we'll put. We'll just put like 2030, just to push it out there. We're not actually sending these in. So then the only other part that you have to worry about here is the pricing right here. This has got a list of all of the current offers, FBA and FBM, on the product page that are live right now. So we'll want to choose pricing. You'll want to bump this up. A good rule is maybe like 20% above if you can, just to throw it up there. But we're not going to do those calculations for right now. The idea behind that is you don't want to price at this $32.96 right now, because what that may do is trigger these guys' repricers to start dropping their price because of yours. And what happens is when you ship in your item, it does get listed on the product page, but the shipping date is backed out. It's back ordered. Like we had talked about earlier about how that's just not all of the competition being completely accurate, because a lot of people are back ordered because it's not checked in yet. So that is exactly what would happen. So if you wanted to, you could even price up at 46 just to get it up there. And then once you get it checked in, your repricer will bring the price down. because it will turn on, it will start working, recognize the competition, and then work between your minimum and maximum prices. The only other thing that you may want to do is like if your pricing is too low, like this was 20% or something like that, you'll want to see the Amazon offers, which you can click on this and will bring you to the Amazon page right there. If for whatever reason you cannot see this button like this and you want to see it, just click off of here. It will bring these up. Fortunately, at this point, you cannot scroll, but I have talked to somebody that has some influence on Inventory Lab and working with the company and let them know about this. So hopefully it will get changed in the future. And then once we're done with all that information, we'll click on Add to Batch here. And oh, that's a setting that we probably don't want on, which is going to be actually in the Inventory Lab settings. So unfortunately, that will just happen, but we'll turn that off. I'll make sure I have that off for the next video that this is in. We're gonna go ahead and do the next ASIN here, which is all the same here. We'll just do 10. We'll have our cost, supplier, purchase date, pricing, and then throw that in there. So we'll just throw this up again. 512% would be nice. Add it to batch, and that is going to come up again. And then once we've got our ASINs in here, we're going to continue on to the next page. But I do want to show you guys how to turn that part off, because it is annoying that you have a tab pop up every single time that you do this. So if you come up to Inventory Lab and then you go to settings and you come over to printing, if you turn this off right here, then you will basically skip that whole step. Before we click on continue to box it though, you'll need your labels for these. And you have two options when you're packing your shipment. And you can either get all of the labels for every product at once, or you can print them as you are assigning stuff to boxes, which when we go through that part, you'll see why it really just doesn't make any sense. So in order to print your labels, you'll want to click on these three dots right here, and you can either print them all in single file format, or you can print them on 30 up labels, which is what I do. It's basically just like an 8x10 piece of paper, the mailing labels, Avery branded. You can get them at Walmart, the ones that I had talked about that were $750 for $8. And this will print on that format. So you'll just click on print, you'll get your page of labels, and then you'll be able to send it over to your printer. If you use a laser printer or something and you want the regular ones, then like to come out single file, then you'll do this. It just really all depends on how your setup is, but I definitely prefer the 30 at once. It just makes it easier. So we'll click on continue here, and then, well, first, actually, I'm going to show you what it looks like to add a new product. So I grabbed the ASIN from the product that we were looking at before, and this is what it would normally pull up to be like. So this is just the regular page here. We'll just leave it at 1 since we're going to add a new one in here. And then we will just click on a price. Sometimes it will be negative there. Sometimes it will not. It's all right. I mean, it doesn't really do anything. Once you click your price, it goes back to it. When you click on add to batch here, it's going to then show you a box that looks like this, where it says pending offer creation. This is grayed out. And this button is what would be important here. So this is what it will also say is pending offer creation. What it's doing is it's sending this information over to your Amazon Seller Central account. So maybe like a minute or so after you add something into your batch that is new, if you go to your Amazon Seller Central account and you look at your manage inventory page, you will see this product in there. Do not be worried because it's going to show up as a merchant fulfilled listing. It's just how it is. It will say merchant fulfilled on that row. It is not getting created as a merchant fulfilled listing, and it will not also have an FNSKU there. When the FNSKU populates, the merchant fulfilled little section will change to FBA. Once the FNSKU is there and your listing is now FBA, you can come back in here and click on revalidate item. It will set up correctly and it will let you push the batch through. So I'm just going to remove this because we're not actually going to push that through, because for the sake of the video, we don't want to have to wait for that to process. It usually takes maybe like 5 minutes or so to get it processed. So we'll continue to box it right here. It will show you this, just giving you steps on what you'll do. You can click on don't ask me again if you want, start boxing the batch, and then it's going to go through these steps here. It does take a minute to get it through, but it's just basically communicating with Amazon. It is sending the products over, getting ready to create your shipment and all of that. So what we're doing in here is we are assigning these to boxes. So if you have 2 boxes and they fit only half each, you would come in here to 10. If it doesn't fit all 10, you'd type in the number. If it was maybe like 6, we would add it to the box 1 right here and it pops up over here. If you could fit, I don't know, 5 of these in here, you'd add it to that box as well. If that's all you can fit, this box is done. Now, the reason why you want the labels beforehand is because you don't want to figure out what fits in a box and then take it all out and then label it again, like afterwards. You have to do it twice because then you got to put it all back the same way. So that's why I do the labels before I box the items. Once you have it all boxed and everything, you can add in the weight here. You can do like, I don't know, say it's like 25 by 25 by 25 and it's 10 pounds. You'll save the dimensions and then you're good to go. You don't have to do that right away, but when we click next here, if you didn't, it would pop it up. And I'll leave the other one blank just so that way you can see what it would look like. If you do, for whatever reason, want to do it twice, then you just click on print labels here and you can print them however you want. Same way as before. If you forget to get your labels on the previous screen, add everything to one box. You have to add dimensions and weight in, and then you can click on print and you can get them there. So you don't lose them if you don't do it right away. But you will have to do it a little bit annoyingly. If you do add everything to the box, you can just click on X here, or you can just go here and delete the box. So we'll add a new box to be able to add these ones in. And if we add all 5 of these, it will stay here unless you click this right here, and it will go away. So it's only showing you stuff that's left. Then we'll add these to the second box. All items have been boxed. This says next, and we can notice that green bar when it's not full, it's not ready. So you have something missing. When we add this here, we'll be able to do next. If for whatever reason you messed up and you had actually like 3 of these in this one and 7 of them in the other, you can go here, edit it. You can move this, say 1, and then you can move it to box 1. It will move it. Well, I actually did all of them because I didn't change the number when I went into here. So we'll just do 4 or 3, move it, and then we've got 7. And then that's how that works. If you needed to change the quantity just in general, then you could do this and say 2, and then this would pop back up here. Pretty self-explanatory or easy to get through. Not a huge thing to figure out. You can print a pack list if you want. You don't need to. And when I click next, because this is not there, it will ask me, what is box 2's length, width, height, weight? Put that in, save and continue, or you could put it in here and just say 25, 10, 10, 4, and then save it, and then you click on next. This is going to ask your ship date. If you want to, you could put any day in here. It doesn't need to be accurate. If you put the 18th and you ship it on the 17th, no big deal. All this is doing is getting an estimated delivery date for UPS. So we'll just confirm that. We'll go through. What it's doing here is it's going to process through this. So it's going to send it all over to Amazon, and it's going to give us 3 options in here for where we can ship this to. Now, the benefit to this, besides doing it through Seller Central, is, for one, how easy this interface is compared to Amazon. If you ever try it, you'll find out what I mean by that. But I'm not going to walk through that just because it's not worth it when you have something like this and you need the accounting part anyway. Um, but what I was saying is the benefit to this is Amazon Seller Central only gives you one option to send your items to. So it's only going to give you one warehouse. Inventory Lab is giving you three. If you do Amazon Seller Central, you're stuck with whatever price they give you. And Inventory Lab, you can choose whatever the cheapest option is. Or if you maybe have a really big need for it to get to somewhere as quick as possible, you can click on and choose the closest warehouse to your location. So it gives you some kind of freedom to be able to have a choice, whereas Amazon Seller Central doesn't give you that. I don't know why they don't give you that, but it's just how it is. So this is definitely the way you'd want to do it. So here we've got the options here where it says inbound placement, 680, 1340, 1030. That doesn't mean it's going to be the cheapest option, but it may be. So we've got our total cost here, $39.33. So it's charging us about $22 and some change for the labels, and then it's charging us $6.80 for inbound placement. What inbound placement is Amazon charging you to move the items around to where they want them. It used to be the case where when you did a shipment, you would put in all of your items like we did in the first step. Then on the second page, instead of you boxing your items all however you wanted to, and then getting this page, it would tell you where your items were going to go to. Like those 10 items may have gone to 4 different warehouses, however that would be divided up. And it would tell you exactly where they wanted it to go. Now, as of, I don't know how long, a year plus, they changed their system and now it's everything goes to one warehouse and then they split it up how they want it, which could save money because maybe you would have gotten 4 labels before. Now you only get one. Well, you don't get one label, but you get one warehouse instead. So this is how it works now, but it's beneficial to be able to choose where you want it to go. This is the last step. Once we click on purchase labels, it's going to ask us to confirm the payment that we want to actually charge our Amazon account for it, and then we'll get the labels. There's going to be 2 labels per box. One is going to have just a regular UPS label. It's going to look like any shipping label that you've ever seen. The second one is going to look like probably something you've never seen before. It's going to be an Amazon label, and it's going to have that 2D barcode on it as well. So you're just going to put those on your box. They just have to be both on there. Normally the same side of the box. If they're not on the same side of the box, going to be somewhat of a potential slowdown for you to get your products checked in. I just throw them on the side of the box, UPS on the left, Amazon on the right. Not on the left and right side of the box, but next to each other. So like Amazon, UPS, or I think it's reverse because of the camera. But UPS on the left, Amazon on the right, both on the same side of the box. And then you're good to go. If you go into your Amazon Seller Central account, you go to the shipments page, you'll be able to see your shipment. You'll be able to see the tracking information of it. You'll be able to see how many units have been checked in and are available for that. You'll see 3 numbers. You'll see how many units you sent on the top. Then underneath that, right underneath it, is going to be how many units are actually checked in. Then on the right side of that, it's going to say how many are Prime eligible. Not a huge thing to worry about. It's going to have different statuses, as in like shipped, receiving, closed, in transit. If a shipment says closed and the 2 numbers don't match, the units shipped and then units located, that means that they didn't get them, or they're quote unquote claiming that they didn't get them. If that's the case, you need to go into that shipment. It will ask you for some invoices for whatever's missing. It will tell you what's missing, first of all, and then you'll just take PDFs of your order confirmations. Does not need to be invoices, just order confirmations, receipts, whatever. You will submit those documents to them, and then they will perform their investigation, whatever, and there will be two outcomes. Either one, they let you know that they actually found the items and they've been put as available in your account, or two, which honestly I think is better, they'll reimburse you for the items. Because, and it's better, in my opinion, because you didn't have to wait for them to sell. You just get them paid for instantly. Now, if for whatever reason, Amazon does have a policy where if they are able to locate your units or units that match yours that just don't belong to anybody, they'll take the reimbursement back and they'll give you the units. They'll obviously verify that it's the same product and it won't be the wrong product, but they do have a policy where if they find units, they are going to assume that it's yours. So some people like that, some people don't, but you may get a reimbursement reversed 6 months, 8 months down the line. There's no expiration on that. I've gotten reimbursements reversed a year prior because they found units that matched mine and they just assume that they're mine. So that's everything that you need to know on how to ship your items, everything. If you're wondering what you need to prep your items in, good rule of thumb is if the product is exposed in any way, as in if you were to, I don't know, drop the item on the ground and the actual product that somebody's buying could get dirty, it needs to go in a bag. If it's a solid cardboard box, like I don't know, like a 3-pack of socks or something, and it comes in a cardboard box that is completely sealed, doesn't need to go in a bag. Just put the label on the box over the other barcode that's already there. If that box has an opening where you can feel the material of the item just to see if it's soft or something, because a lot of things do that. Either like put a piece of tape over it to cover the hole or throw it in a bag. There's a lot of places will put tape over it, like Macy's and all the big retailers, they'll just throw tape over it. So if it can get dirty, damaged, anything with what it's already in, then bag it. If it can't, doesn't need anything. If you put something in a bag where, say, like this shirt had a tag on it that's on the front, like I don't know, for example, like Nike products all have those Nike tags. I'm sure you've seen them before that hang off and they have the barcode on them. If you have to put one of those kind of products in a bag, don't put the barcode on that tag inside the bag. Just leave that barcode as it is and put the tag on the bag. Okay. That's just the way you want to do it, because you don't want Amazon workers to be fidgeting around with the bag and trying to get it to read. And then if it can't read, then it doesn't get checked in right away and it just causes problems. So if there's an existing barcode on a package, cover it. If it has to go inside a bag, don't cover it. And I almost forgot. If you see a sticker on a product or anywhere that says suggested retail price or suggested price and it has a dollar amount, you better take that off. Like there is no reason to leave that on unless you want negative customer reviews, because you're not selling it at that suggested retail price. That price may say $20 and you're selling it for 30. You're going to have some upset customers, and some people have just not thought to do that. So make sure you take it off. If you can't just rip it off, scratch it out with like a knife or something. Just make it not readable and take it off. If it's on the outside of a bag and you can't get it off, rebag the item. Okay, just do whatever you can to make that not viewable, and don't just lay a blank label over it because you can see through that. Mostly every Amazon virtual assistant comes from this website. There are some other places that will train them for you, set you up with somebody that they say knows everything to do with Amazon. I've tried them. It's honestly not worth the money. Like they're gonna charge you thousands of dollars to give you somebody that is quote unquote trained, and the people that I got from those kind of places just weren't as good. I mean, maybe some places have better people. I don't know. I haven't tried them all. I only really tried one or two. So, try it out what you want. But I've had success from both of the VAs that I got from this website, and I didn't really have to do much. It's called onlinejobs.ph. You will have to get a subscription. It is $69 a month. You really only need 1 month's worth of a subscription though, because once you hire somebody, you have no need for this website. And if you are doing this as you should be, you don't need to take longer than a month, really. So you'll sign up for your account, and you will then come into account and go to job posts. You'll see here the three that I had put up. Um, they One of them wasn't as successful as the others. I was trying to get into some kind of wholesale at one point, about like 2 years ago now, and it didn't last very long. So I actually got a very good OA VA out of it, but that is why this is in here because I do not do wholesale. Um, but you can see here the number of applicants that I got, and that was all kind of like overnight. So you will get slammed with applications. But let's go through how to add a job post. So if we go into here, we're going to see this information here, which is basically all that we need to see is right here, where we've got our job title and then type of employment, full-time, part-time, job description, salary, number of hours per week. And I have a job post that I'm going to link down in the description as well, where you can download it for free, that I used for my OA VAs, where we've just got some basic stuff: job requirements, responsibilities, prior experience, benefits. You can change all this as you see fit. Like if you don't want to do paid time off on holidays, it's up to you. It is a nice bonus. You might get better quality candidates if you're doing that. Who knows? Um, and then we do send them out a practice test. So if you want to make one of those, all I did was take a screenshot of a Keepa chart and a SellerAmp chart, ask them to read some values that they'll need to know. And then at the end of it, I put about maybe 7 or 8 different Keepa charts, good ones, bad ones, kind of in the middle for some of them. And I asked them to tell me, would you put this into the buy sheet for me to purchase? Yes, no, why? And that kind of weeds out all the people that don't really know what they're doing. It used to be a thing where everybody would put in storefronts and ask them to source products from each storefront, and I wouldn't recommend doing that. I guess anymore isn't the right word. I got some bad feedback from some of the candidates that I was sending it to, saying that they had gotten a test like that before from a lot of other sellers, and they felt like they were being scammed out of products, basically. Like they were being asked to do free work. And that just, once I saw that and heard that, I didn't feel right about doing it anymore, because I don't want them to feel like because they weren't hired is because I was trying to scam them. I wanted them to, I guess, know that the reason why I wasn't hiring them was because I didn't think that they really were a good fit. Um, and that's what the reading the Keepa charts does, because they have to read the Keepa charts to go source a product anyway. And you don't need free products from somebody. That's not really a good way to do business. So that's basically the whole thing with that. And then the end here is 3 different questions, and the third one is very random. You can choose whatever you want. Some people ask them what's their favorite color, where do you want to go on vacation to, anything random like that that other applications wouldn't have on it. Because what you're going to get from, I don't know, a good percentage, maybe 30 to 40% of the people that apply, is a basic copy and pasted response. Like it's just going to have their experience because they know people use Keepa, SellerAmp. They know basically all the questions an Amazon seller is going to ask them. So they just copy and paste to everybody. And you want to know, are they actually reading the application? Are they really taking time in this, or are they just mass applying to everybody hoping to get a job? Which isn't a bad thing, but You want them to pay attention to detail also, because if they aren't reading this, then are they less likely to read the comments that you send to them about products? Are they less likely to do something that you ask them to do in the future? You don't know, but it's a good way to kind of weed that stuff out for yourself. So that is a very good thing to do, is send a question like this. If you get a response back from the practice test that you like, send them a document with your schedule on it. Tell them to pick a time to schedule an interview. Get on an interview with them. If you like them as a person, then and you think they're good fit for the job, some people will do free trials, quote unquote free trials. I wouldn't do that. That's, again, not a good business practice to ask them to work for free. What I do is I'll give them a 1 to 2 week paid trial, and I tell them up front, you are not solidified basically in this position yet. We're going to take the first 1 to 2 weeks and we're going to see how things go. You will be paid at the normal rate, but after this trial's over, we will decide if it's going to be a full-time position for you or not. And during those 1 to 2 weeks, I give them videos to watch. At this point, I would have given them my own videos to watch, but I didn't have those at the time. So I found videos on YouTube that I thought were very helpful. Keepa tutorial, SellerAmp tutorial, live sourcing videos. I do have all of that stuff on my channel. If you want to give it to them, feel free. Because that's how I teach my VAs, and that's how they've run my business for the last 2 years. Um, I meet with them every day after or before their shift, usually before, because personally, I don't make them work US hours. Some people disagree with me on that. I just like the idea of them starting at night. If I have anything to talk to them about, I talk to them when they start their shift. So that way it affects the rest of their shift. And then when I wake up in the morning, there's products there waiting for me to look through and purchase or tell them why or why not through the document. So it's a really good fit for me. Everybody's schedule is different, so it's really up to you on that side of things. Uh, a good range, if you're curious, for payment, everybody's different on that too. I personally pay my VAs $3 to $3.50 an hour. That's normal for me. I mean, that's more than what it used to be when I first started. It was around like 2 when I first started, and then rates went up a little bit because of everything that's going on. But some people will say you got to pay $5 to $7 an hour to get a good VA. That's not true. It's just not. It's completely false, because I have 2 great VAs, and one of them started about 8 months ago as the admin, and they're at $3 an hour. I don't know how the exchange works and everything, but they're making good money. So really up to you on what you're comfortable paying. If you are not comfortable paying $5 and somebody wants $5, what you can do is tell them, hey, this is a newer business. I would feel more comfortable if we could start out at a lower rate, and then as you are working, the business will be making money. Then I can raise your pay up. Pretty much everybody would go for that. Uh, it's what I did. I started them out a little bit lower and then said 3 months down the line, you're going to go here, or month 1, you're going to go here, month 2, you're going to go here. And then month 3, you're going to be at your full rate, because they'll understand that if you're paying them too much and you can't afford it from the get-go, they're less likely to have long-term employment, rather than start out a little bit lower and then grow with the business. Not a bad idea, and definitely something to consider. When it comes to prep centers, there's some different things that you need to keep in mind. But before we get into that, this is an amazing resource for Amazon sellers by Chris Grant. It's cleartheshelf.com. If you just look up Clear the Shelf Amazon prep centers or Clear the Shelf prep centers, it will come up in the Google search results. It's an entire list of all different prep centers throughout every state that has them. Whether it's tax free or not, there will be an X in here or a check mark. So we can see here Delaware, no sales tax. So that is the benefit to getting a prep center. If you're going to get a prep center, it better be in a sales tax free state, because if it's not, then you're losing money. If you don't pay sales tax already, maybe you live in Delaware or a sales tax free state, then you're still losing money, but you're freeing up your time. That's worth it. If you live in a state with sales tax, then this kind of just replaces that cost. So you may break even, you may save some money depending on your sales tax rate, but that is kind of the sweet spot for a prep center, is having sales tax, getting rid of it for the same cost, if not less. So this is going to have all of these different prep centers in here. It's a very long list. There's a few states in here with no sales tax, and then it does also go into like different countries at the bottom, which you don't need to worry about, like right here. But there's a very good amount of prep centers in here. So we're going to walk through just a good example, because I have one to recommend to you guys that I actually did use at one point. I just have a different situation with my prep where I didn't need a prep center anymore, and I still don't do my prep. So it wasn't necessary for me to add the extra cost. But PrepWorks is a great prep center. They are in Oregon, so a little bit far out from the East Coast. Not a huge deal on your end for cost wise, because all your retailers and stuff, if you're doing OA, are going to ship for free. If you're doing wholesale and your distributors maybe charge you for shipping, maybe you want to find one around where your distributors are mainly located. You're not going to really get, you're not going to get a prep center for every distributor. Don't do that. Um, but for the OA side, you don't need to worry about where they are, because it just doesn't really matter. But they are very good. Daniel is the owner, and if you schedule a call, I believe you'll still get in contact directly with him. I did, at least. They use a Discord server for their communication and everything, and they've got multiple employees in there. They're very good at communication, which is something that you really want, because some of these prep centers are going to have a customer service team that's only open a certain amount of hours during the day. Some of them are based overseas because it's cheaper to pay people overseas, and so they're not available during normal business hours. That sucks. Um, the first prep center that I had, won't drop their name, but they were very bad at communication because they had that. It just wasn't great. So, what you want to pay attention to with prep centers is what they do, especially, and then also their costs, because every prep center is going to have a different pricing. They're going to have different setup for how they price things. Like, for example, PrepWorks, they do charge to receive boxes $1 a box, um, which I guess can be kind of annoying if maybe your supplier is shipping out multiple items, but if you're ordering 40 of the same item and it comes in one box, really not that big of an added cost. Um, Processing fees broken down most likely in between number of units that you're doing every single month. So 0 to 500 units a month, $1.60 a unit, 500 to 1,000, $1.25, 1,000 to 2,000, $1.10, so on and so on. Oversized units are different, multi-packs, liquids, fragile stuff, shoes, disposal fee if they're throwing stuff away. They do mostly all charge for boxes. This one's $4 a box. Shipment costs, no prep center should charge you to ship your items out, because Amazon is charging you for that. Then storage fees, wholesale, custom, rates and everything on that end. Now, what is typical is usually anywhere from $1.50 to $1 for individual units. If it's higher, it's usually because they are implementing stuff like this. Like, if you don't see a line where they're charging you for boxes, it's probably built into this cost here, and it's going to be a higher cost here. So that's stuff that you really need to weigh out and decide. You can always, and what I would recommend to everybody is do not just, if, especially if you're an existing seller, but also if you're new, send them a small amount of units, like maybe 50, 100, something like that. Maybe if you're new, that seems like a large amount, but you don't want to send them 1,000 units on your first go around and then maybe get screwed a little bit. So you want to kind of ease into it and make sure that they're communicating how you want, processing how you want. The turnaround time is what you want, because normally it ranges from either 24 to 72 hours from when you put in an outbound shipment, then they ship it out. If it's longer than that, go somewhere else, because that's just not good. It's going to take way too long. It also depends on how they're tracking your inventory. Prepworks, for example, they have on this website, when you sign in, there is a web page where you can see all of your inventory. So you would plug in to their website what you ordered, the ASIN, the quantity. If you have tracking numbers, you can throw that in. And then once they receive the item, they look in your account, they plug it in to your inventory page. Then your whole list of your inventory that's received is there. Once you do a shipment, you just take the ASIN, create an outbound shipment on their website. You throw in all the ASINs and stuff that you want to ship out, quantities, everything. Then it starts the timer of how long they basically have to ship it out. I do want to say I don't have any affiliation with this company. Like, I have no affiliate link. I don't have any deal with them, anything. They don't even know that I'm making this video. I just brought this up because I know exactly how their interface works, and I thought it was very good, and it's something that you should know to look out for when you do get a prep center. Because some prep centers, like the first one that I had that I didn't name drop, they used Google Sheets, and that's good, but this is setup is way better and easier for an Amazon seller to use and keep track of everything. So if they don't have something like that, then maybe want to look somewhere else. Some places will also use your inventory lab account. If you do sign up with that and use that, they will go in there and create shipments through that. So everything's all streamlined inside of your accounting software already. That would be great. It just really depends on what they'll do and what you ask them. So ask them those questions. Vet these people on a call before you decide to sign up with them. If they try to charge you a joining fee, maybe go somewhere else, because you shouldn't have to pay them just to sign up to see if they're good. There's plenty of prep centers that don't do that. So you don't have to feel like you're stuck somewhere. If you don't like them, leave. You were prepping your products beforehand. You could do it again while you find another one if you need to. So just keep all that stuff in mind. Make sure you do your due diligence with a company like this, because it's going to be the backbone of your business. If they're underperforming, you're underperforming. It's very crucial to make sure that you find a good prep center. So now that we've gone over everything to do with, like, how do you actually start your business and what do you need to get started, after a while you're going to wonder this exact question, like, how do you actually scale this business? And it's a very straightforward, simple answer that may seem dumb to say, but you need to buy more product, you need to buy more units, you need to get more money, you need to outsource everything. By buy more product, I just mean test different products. Like, keep expanding your catalog. That's all you do. Buying more units, maybe instead of doing test orders of 5 to 10, you do 10 to 20. And on products that you're replenning, instead of maybe doing 20 on every order, maybe you up it to 40 or 50. As long as the data is there and you're selling these products already, why not just increase? And if you're validating your test products correctly, you can add more to the test order. There's no reason that you can't do that. Getting more capital is what a lot of people think is the hardest part, but it's really not because banks are trying to give out money. Like banks, most of their business comes from business accounts. And if for whatever reason you can't get another American Express card because you already have one under your current company, what I've done is I just open a new company and then get different cards. You don't have to use the company for anything. You could realistically open a company and then close it. You don't have to do anything with it. You'll pay the fee to open it up, but my case, it's around like $200 where I live to open an LLC. Is it worth paying $200 to open a dead company that's not going to be used to get access to thousands of dollars that I'm going to make way more than $200 on? To me, yes. May not be to you, but if you're really stuck on capital, that would be a non-normal way to do it, I guess. Outsourcing prep, if you don't have a prep center already, that gives you your time back to then buy more product, buy more units, get more money. Outsource sourcing, even if you've already gotten a VA, hire another one, hire two more. If you can afford it, all it's going to do is give you more product to be able to buy more units to then be able to get more money. And if you don't have enough money to be able to buy more product, get more capital. It all just cycles back into each other, which is why I was saying it feels stupid to say it, but it's the real reality of this business. And that's the only way to do it. If you stick with the same amount of products, you only do test orders of 5 and 10 and you replen them 5 and 10 and you never go deeper, you keep going out of stock, you're never going to be able to get more sales of those products because of the time frames in between restocking them. It just doesn't, it won't scale. If you don't get your time back by outsourcing your prep, you won't be able to scale by buying more product and using your time somewhere else. If you don't get other people to help you source, you're still limited on the only amount of time that you have. It all hopefully makes sense and it is very straightforward. But like I said, this is the reality of how everybody scales their business. If you guys made it to the end of this video, I am proud of you for watching the whole thing. I know it's a really long video and I appreciate you guys for watching. If you have any questions about anything I went over in this video, please don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. And also let me know if it helped you out or if you had any success watching this video and learning from it. Don't forget to grab all of the resources that I went through in this video down in the description. Thanks for watching again. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next video.